Very good evening to you. Scotland are looking to continue their unbeaten start to this Euro qualifying campaign. This evening, they take on Israel at the National Stadium. And this evening, all the action is coming your way in the company of these two former Scotland internationals. Newly retired Joel Murray, not so newly retired Julie Fleeting. But it's a pleasure to have you here, ladies. Looking forward to your company. Now, of course, this match has been played behind closed doors due to the expected protests at the National Stadium before the match and maybe even during it as well. Of course, some protesting over Israel's military operation in Gaza. So obviously there's been quite a lot of outside noise in the build-up to this game. Julia, I just wonder, the players will have been very aware. They'll have to have been speaking in press conferences about subjects that they maybe don't want to be speaking about. How will that have affected the build-up to what they're trying to do on the pitch tonight?
I think obviously there'll have been lots of different discussions that they've probably never had before in team meetings, but I think what the staff will have been really focusing on is making sure that the players are concentrating on the football side of it. So they'll be trying to take everything else away from them, any worries that they have, any kind of distractions that they might feel going into this game, and it'll just be down to the staff to make sure that they have their players ready to, when they step on the pitch, that they know that the most important thing for those 90 minutes is getting the 3 points.
And Joel, because it's been played behind closed doors, we understand that I think some of the players' family are going to be there, but it's going to be a deathly silent Hampden Stadium, isn't it? How will that affect the players and what they're trying to do?
Yeah, I don't think and wouldn't like to think it'll affect the players too much. I think, like Julie said, they'll be fully focused on the task in hand, and that's playing for 90 minutes, getting a performance and a result. So I certainly don't think having no or very few spectators there tonight will impact or affect the team tonight.
Shall we have a look at the team news, ladies, ahead of this one at the Scotland point of view? 4 changes Pedro Martinez-Losa has made from last time out. Hansen, Cornet, Emsley and Thomas all back in. Brown, of course, had to drop out through injury. Ross, Smith and Clark, as we can see there, have dropped down to the bench. What do you make of that team? Quite an attacking, intent lineup there, Julie, would you say?
It is. I think when you look, first of all, at the back line, there's a lot of experience there. You've got Lee Gibson, experienced in goal for Scotland. You've got Rachel Corsey, 150 caps. You get Lisa Evans as well, someone with bags of experience at this level and also in our club football. And then you've got players who are kind of quite fresh to the international setup. Chelsea Cornet's had a brilliant season for Rangers, thoroughly deserves her call up, and she's going to be playing in that central midfield role. But as you say, there's plenty of pace in wide areas. Kirsty Hansen's electric, and that'll be something that they'll want to try and use to our advantage. And you've got Martha Thomas, a player who thrives in decent deliveries into the box. So Claire Emsley, it'll be really important that Claire Emsley on one side, Kirsty Hansen on the other, get those deliveries, and also that we've got support coming from Erin Cuthbert, from Sam Kerr, because they need to go out and get a win. For me, they have to play an attacking style of play. They have to play with a high intensity. We want to win the ball high up if we don't have it, so that's going to really rely on our back four squeezing the game. But I think when you do look at the lineup, there are players capable of creating opportunities, and Martha Thomas, you do have a player who is alive in the box and can get on the end of things.
Yeah, and it's a game that on paper, Joelle, Scotland should be winning.
Absolutely. I think it's certainly a must-win game tonight for us if we have any aspirations to top the group, Jane. And like Julie says, and the quality, the ability, the nice blend across that squad tonight, I'd like to think and hope that we can get the job done.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that. All the action coming your way, of course. Julie, you mentioned Kirsty Hansen there, a player who's been out the last couple of games, but we know how influential she can be. There she is, being put through her paces. But we saw how key she was when Scotland played England in the Nations League down in Sunderland. She can be a real threat, can't she?
She can, like as I said earlier, she's got electric pace. She's very physical. She can go inside and out. We've seen before that she can strike the ball. She's got a great shot on her. She can shoot from range, and also she can get by players and get deliveries into the box. And for me, I think that's why Martha Thomas is in there, because he knows that he's got the delivery of Kirsty Hansen, he's got the delivery of Claire Emsley as well. And you've got Martha Thomas in there who loves going and attacking the ball. So Kirsty Hansen, we talked about her in the game against England. We haven't been able to have her on the pitch as much as we would probably have liked, but it's brilliant to see her starting the game this afternoon, and she's a player that can really excite you when the game starts.
Yeah, and because she has been missing those games, you would imagine she'll be chomping at the bit, won't she, to try and get back in and be right in the thick of the action tonight?
Yeah, she certainly will. We've, like Julie said, we've missed her. Our pace, our creativity, her directness, because when she drives at the defence, you can see she absolutely terrifies them. And we speak highly of her up here in Scotland with the national team, and I know she's obviously just won her Player of the Year down south with Aston Villa, so they equally so appreciate the quality that she possesses. So hopefully we can see a good Kirsty Hansen performance tonight.
Yeah, hopefully she's on form this evening. Let's hear from the Scotland camp ahead of this one, shall we? Let's hear from the Scotland head coach. Pedro Martinez-Losa has been talking to Amy Canavan.
Pedro, finally match day is upon us. Just how have you ensured that preparations for this game remain as normal as possible?
Well, we have been focused on performance and what we can control with the group, and obviously until now that's what we are doing, even in the warm-up, in the journey to the stadium in the previous days.
There was a warm weather training camp out in Pinatar. What sort of focus was put on tonight's game that it is a behind closed doors game?
We're working on that. Obviously, there's different research to help the team mentally, especially from COVID time, and so we have been working with the group on that. But the most important is about the cohesion, the energy of the group, and the challenge that we have to face to get the objective that we want to be in the Euros.
And just with that shaping up of this Euros group, have you established these two games as must-win games?
Yeah, probably is one of the most important camps that we have in the few years, especially because competitive games that can help us to have a feeling of going in the right direction and having that reward that the players are looking forward to it after the hard work and the progression they have done. And it's always needed a reward on the effort and the work that we have done together.
And just how do you feel about this being one of the most important international breaks of your tenure?
Well, I feel excited. Obviously, I feel responsible of what we represent and the team, and also facing the challenge that we have to face. It's never easy for us, but I think there's the desire and the inspiration to qualify the team is stronger than anything for the team and for me.
And just looking at your team line tonight, how are you hoping that your side impose themselves this evening?
No, we want to be dominant as always. We want to have the possession of the ball, to create chances, to make sure the chances can be transformed in goals and performance, and especially for the players to make sure they can enjoy on the pitch in a challenging circumstances. But we are hopefully we can have our fans coming back soon to the stadium, and we can also have that opportunity to do it with them.
All the very best tonight, Pedro.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, Scotland-Israel is coming your way in just a few minutes' time, but there's one game already. Well, it's almost finished, actually. Serbia against Slovakia, also in Scotland's group. They're winning 2-1. I think just a couple of minutes left in that one, and you can see what it's done to the table. Slovakia still top of the table. Serbia top of the table, I think it should be. They are the team that are winning, and they are 7 points ahead, 3 points ahead of Scotland as we speak. But Scotland, of course, in action this evening, so they could try and recoup that, and of course it'll be important for them to do so. Let's talk about Pedro Martinez-Losa. He is a manager. There's been plenty of speculation about Joel, that the players again have had to talk about that as well, which can't be easy. He's said that it's all speculation, he can't help that, but he is fully committed to the job in hand. What's been your take on that as it's been unfolding over the last few days?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think Lee Gibson came out in the press the other day and mentioned that Pedro Martinez-Losa had addressed the squad and kind of squashed that speculation. But yeah, as I say, it's interesting. In my opinion, I think there is potential interest there. Where that interest lies at the moment, how those potential conversations have progressed, if there has been some, who knows? But it will certainly be interesting to see the progressions of that so-called speculation.
Yeah, Julie, I don't know if you've ever been involved in that kind of experience when you were a player, but is he likely, do you think, in your mind, maybe to be telling the media one thing and the players something different, do you think? Would the players be demanding a bit more clarity from him, do you think?
I think he has to be honest with his players, so I think his players would probably have an idea of whether he was telling them what they want to hear or whether he was being truthful with them. As a manager, that will always happen. That there will be other teams will come in and want to talk to you. I think the timing's really poor because these are really big, a double header for Scotland, big games. We need to win these games. But I mean, he's done what he can do. There's talk in the media. He spoke to his players. He spoke to the media. He's done absolutely everything right, in my opinion, leading up to this game. And we don't know what he's told the players, but I'm sure he'll have been as honest as he can be with them.
Let's talk a bit more specifically about this game, Joelle, in terms of where Scotland, you see that the areas that they'll prove most successful in trying to get the better of Israel. Where do you see the kind of danger areas coming from?
I think for us, we've got an extremely strong middle of the park. Julie spoke about Chelsea Cornet having a fantastic season at our club, and quite rightly so deserves our place in the starting lineup tonight. So I think from a midfield perspective, there's a nice balance, there's a nice blend. So hopefully we see a bit of transition because all three players can play across the 6, the 8 and the 10. And then Kirsty Hansen and Claire Emsley out on those wide areas. I think if we get direct, if we get to the byline and balls into the box, I think Martha Thomas tonight will thrive on that.
Yeah, Scotland haven't been scoring many goals of late, Julie. They probably need you back in the starting lineup for that kind of action. But is it important that they maybe try and get several goals, if possible, on the scoreline this evening for confidence?
I'm sure they've been trying to get goals
I thought you were going to say I'm sure they've been trying to get me on side there.
I think they're looking for players in better shape than I am. But I'm sure they've been trying to score goals. I mean, you look at the lineup, every game they put out an attacking lineup. We've got two fullbacks who love getting forward. Lisa Evans, who was a winger. Nicola Docherty on the left-hand side, who loves getting forward and getting crosses into the box. So we do have an attacking lineup, and of course that will be the focus. No one knows more than the players themselves that they need to score goals, and that, I'm sure, has been the focus throughout their training sessions, is how are we going to attack? What are we going to do to give us the best opportunity to create chances? You've got Erin Cuthbert as well, a player who is playing at the very highest level with club football. She plays in between world-class players. She stands out like a sore thumb in our club football. So we have a player in there who, if we can make sure that we get the ball to her, that we can get her turned, that we can get her driving at the back line, shooting from range, get her at the edge of the box, then of course we've got players capable of scoring goals, but they'll have been trying to do that all along, and sometimes it just needs that couple of wee opportunities in a game, and let's hope it's tonight.
Yeah, fingers crossed that it is tonight. Let's bring you all the action. You can see behind us in the screens that the players are in the tunnel ready to take to the pitch. Let's hand to our commentary team then. Well, we're going to hand to our commentary team in a few minutes' time, but we're told that their players are not quite ready. There is some kind of issue. We will keep you abreast with that. But defensively, you'll be obviously keen, Joelle, to know, to see that they can kind of hold their own and be solid, keep a clean sheet. I guess that'll be the aim as well. Can they do it more than capable, do you think?
More than capable. I think we spoke quite a lot there about how we can score, how we can create an attack, but I think from a defensive perspective, certainly Rachel Corsie and Sophie Howard, knowing them very well, they'll want to keep that clean sheet, because good performances, good results are built on a good defensive, solid foundation. So I think both of those girls, along with the fullbacks, of course, and Lee in goal, will want to come away from tonight's game with a clean sheet.
Yeah, and of course, Sophie Howard's been a bit of a goal threat for us as well. Julie, she'll be hoping to keep up that running way as well, won't she?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have that when you've got players who can go and join the attack at set plays, who can be dangerous. I think Sophie Howard, she's had a couple of goals recently that have been really important to Scotland. So I'm sure during the week when they've been training, they'll have worked on their set plays, they'll have worked on getting players like Sophie Howard free in the box, and to know that when you do get a corner or a free kick high up, that we do have the threat of the aerial threat of Sophie's a great tool to have.
Yeah, just to reiterate, there is a small delay at Hampden. We'll bring you the live action between Scotland and Israel as soon as we can. And we don't know what the delay is. We'll try and bring the details to you. But I guess this can't be helping the players as well. We saw there They were in the tunnel, they're ready to go. They just want to get out there and start playing this game, given everything that they've had to deal with in the past few days, Joel. This will be adding to their frustration, won't it?
It certainly will. Like you said, I think there's been so much kind of non-football talk over the last few days. There's been a lot of speculation around obviously the manager, and they'll be looking just to get out there and go through that kind of natural match day preparation. So a delay in kick-off certainly won't be helping that.
Yeah, I mean, Julia, I don't know what the players are doing, whether they're still in the tunnel, whether they're going back to the dressing rooms, but I suppose it's kind of strong mentality. It's where the experienced players will come to their fore and try and take control of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy when you get given really specific times to be out, specific times to be in the tunnel, to be stepping onto the park. It's all very, very structured. And the players will have worked their preparations around that. You've got so many that will have superstitions and lots of just wee quirky things about what they'll do before they go out. But yeah, I mean, they'll just be keen to get on the pitch and get the game started as quick as possible.
Yeah, no, they absolutely will. We will bring you the action as soon as we can for you. Just in terms of a more general sense, Scotland need to get back to kind of strong winning ways, don't they, Joelle?
Yeah, I think that's the aim, and like Julie said, we have obviously been trying to get the goals that we need in games gone by, and I think it's just those fine margins. I think if we get a good early quick goal tonight, that'll hopefully set the tone, settle any nerves, and allow the girls to play that free-flowing football that we know they can play.
Yeah, because we did see actually, certainly in the Nations League and in previous games as well, in this qualifying campaign, Julie, that they have been creating chances. They've maybe just not been as clinical as they want to be in front of goal.
No, and I think sometimes there's really fine margins. There's moments in the game that sometimes they go for you and sometimes they don't. We've seen them hitting the woodwork, and on another day that could drop in the underside of the bar and go in. And so, yes, there have been, but I think good teams force your own luck. And I think when the players do get the opportunities, if they can just get one goal, the difference that can make, particularly to your strikers, scoring goals just builds your confidence. And I think it'll only take 1 or 2 goals and we could possibly see a different side of this team.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Just to reiterate, we're still waiting for the teams to come out. We're told that they've gone back into the dressing room at Hampden now. We don't know what's happened. Obviously, we hope everything is OK. We'll keep you, of course, fully updated as and when we can. Let's just reiterate what we told you earlier. We've corrected the table as well, which is always good news. Serbia winning against Slovakia in that Euro qualifier in Scotland's Group B2. And there is the table. Serbia still top, leading by 3 points over Scotland, but Scotland hopefully will rectify that this evening. Is it good for Scotland that they know what Serbia have done this evening? They can go out there and that gives them that added edge, added incentive to knowing what they have to do tonight, Joelle, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. However, I don't think and would like to hope that it doesn't change the mentality. I think the mentality would be always to go out and perform well tonight and get goals. And looking back at that table, goal difference, when we're speaking about creating and being clinical, certainly with the 2 goals in it between ourselves and Serbia, I think scoring goals, creating opportunities, will be absolutely crucial. So, yeah, I think a good performance and being clinical in front of goal will hopefully take us to the top of that table.
Yeah, goal difference obviously can come into the women's game. We've seen it here, haven't we, in the SWPL to some effect. So that will be playing on the minds, won't it? Obviously, it can work the other way, that it maybe puts a lot of pressure on the attacking players, but still it's important that they maybe know how significant it could be.
I think first and foremost for them will be getting 3 points. I think once they've in a winning position, then it'll be about building on the lead that they've got. And I think what they'll be focusing on is getting a win, and that's going to be at the front of all the players' mind, that's the only result that's acceptable, and I'm sure they'll be fully focused for that.
Yeah, let's hope they are fully focused. We are still waiting for kick-off this evening. There has been that delay. We can get a little bit more on this. Our match commentator, Alistair Lamont, is standing by to bring us the very latest. Al, what's been happening? Why is there a delay?
What's happened, Jane, is that a protester has somehow breached the security. Now, I mean, the security here is quite significant, I have to say. Lots of police, lots of security, and yet someone has managed to get in inside the stadium, onto the pitch, and has chained themselves in some way to one of the goalposts away to our right. We're in the north stand, and across to our right-hand side, someone, as I say, has managed to chain themselves. Can't really see closely enough how they've managed to do that. Their arms appear to be free, so it doesn't seem to be his arms that are chained to the goalpost, but I saw someone out with what looked like effectively bolt cutters trying to prise them free. That seemed to fail. So as things stand, the protester is still standing on the goal line with 2 or 3 police and stewards round about him, some other workers here from Hampden, from the Scottish Football Association as well. But the teams, as you say, they were in the tunnel. You were literally poised to hand to me as that all happened. I didn't see the person make their way onto the pitch, I have to say. I was looking at the tunnel waiting for the players to come out, and all of a sudden I see this kind of commotion in the goal mouth, and this is all unfolded. So I mean, literally it's anyone's guess as to how long it's going to take for this person to be freed from the goalpost, but certainly questions, despite the security that has been put on here today, it has been breached, and questions will be asked and have to be answered.
Al, thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to date with that one. Of course, we'll keep you posted as and when there's any action on the pitch. But yeah, a delay to kick-off in this one. Scotland against Israel in their latest Euro qualifying campaign. Well, there is plenty to come across BBC Scotland, and you might know that the Icons series is back for a second series, and very appropriately, we have a former Scotland defender who's featured in this run of season.
I fell in love with football. Football, for me, from such a young age, was what I wanted to play.
I want a game of football. I'm bored.
Football started to take over Jen's life, and she soon rose head and shoulders above her teammates at Glasgow City FC.
So I went from being the first girl to have ever played for Glasgow City to then captaining it the following year. And again, it was another one of those moments that it was just about earning respect from the boys and kind of trying to prove yourself. I was also much bigger than at that point, so maybe they were nice to me for a reason.
Your daughter suddenly becomes the captain of the boys' team, and you think, how did this happen?
Well, a landmark film released in 2002, which proved that football wasn't just a game for the boys, played a big part.
I'd asked my mum if I could go see Bend It Like Beckham as like my birthday party. And I just fell in love with the idea that you could go and play soccer in America for a college degree. When you saw them get onto the plane, I was like, that's amazing. That was a turning point for me, that I was in love with it. I was obsessed.
Jen's passion was starting to become a reality. She'd already featured for Scotland under-16s and set out to pursue a career in football.
Queen's Park for me was, I guess, the introduction to senior women's football in Scotland, and I went from playing with kids and boys to adults, women. People had to train as professionals whilst holding down full-time jobs. That made me appreciate what they were doing and how much we all loved it.
But at age 16, she had an opportunity to play as an amateur for the newly formed senior side, Celtic FC Women.
I was a small fish in a big pond of a senior women's team, and I wanted to try and make it and do it.
After one season at Celtic, whilst also picking up awards at high school, a phone call in January 2009 from London would change Jen's life.
The assistant manager at Arsenal, Tony Gervais, phoned and says, we want to bring you down in summer. I'm getting goosebumps now talking about it. They were the team that was semi-pro. They were going to put me through uni. That was the sort of big break moment for me. I couldn't get down there quick enough. I couldn't wait to get going to play with some of the biggest players in Europe at that time.
Oh, really looking forward to watching that one. You can see that one on the BBC iPlayer. Also coming up on Monday, Sports Scene brings you highlights of the men's team in action. Gibraltar against Scotland. Tune in from BBC One Scotland for that one. We'll also bring you the return leg of this Euro qualifier. That's on BBC Scotland on Tuesday at 2:45 in the afternoon. And a men's final friendly before the Euros sees Scotland face Finland. We'll bring you that match live on BBC Scotland from 7:30. That one.
Welcome to Germany. This is the Euros, where anything can happen.
Finds McGinn, John McGinn!
Intercepted by Modric. Some lovely stuff from Spain there.
Varela could be in trouble here. Through the middle, it bounces to Bellingham. Bellingham all the way! And it's saved by Donnarumma. It's magnificent. Kylian Mbappé. Extraordinary finale.
More twists, more turns. UEFA Euro 2024 starts Friday, 14th of June across the BBC.
Oh, looking forward to the Euros getting underway, ladies. Hopefully we're going to bring you this Euro qualifier involving Scotland women's team. A match is delayed, kick-off is delayed due to an ongoing incident, but we will bring you as soon as we can for you all the action in that one. We saw Jen Beattie there, who of course is featuring in the latest episode of Icons. You both played with her. What a great story it is. Can't wait to see it. What are your thoughts of her career?
Fantastic. No surprise that she's went on to have the career that she's had, because I played with her with the national team, and she was always a professional, approached every situation on and off the pitch with the same mentality and same professional attitude. So yeah, it's no surprise she's went on to have the fantastic career she's had so far.
Yeah, and Julie, you played with her as well. In fact, you know, you've got quite a lot in common. You come from a sporting family. You know, that it's obviously in the genes as well. It's brilliant to see, isn't it, that that the women are flying the flag when the men have done it in the team as well, and for their country as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's got great sporting genes, as you say. And I remember her coming into the national team, and I remember her coming on as a sub at left back. And she came on and seamlessly just fitted into the team. She was very young at the time. She didn't look fazed by the occasion. I remember her taking people on, crossing into the box, and me thinking, wow, this is a player that I'm going to enjoy playing with, because her deliveries were excellent. It probably wasn't her favoured position, but she was so versatile, and whatever she was asked to play, she would do. I played with her at Arsenal as well. And yeah, she was always a great competitor, a teammate that you could always rely on. She would give you absolutely everything in every game, and yeah, it's great to see her. And I was thoroughly enjoying that there. I couldn't believe you cut it off. I was just sitting back.
That's why it's called a tease, Julie. That's why it's called a tease.
Well, I'm in.
You are on that. I was going to mention the Arsenal connection, and obviously, you know, when interesting to listen to her there, that she still gets goosebumps. You know, the fact that she got the big call to go down south, and I guess the club at that time was just changing into the kind of professional outfit it is now.
Yeah. I think at that time it was a transition moment. Arsenal at that stage were kind of flying the flag for women's football, certainly down south, but we're also making a kind of name for ourselves in European football as well. So it was a great time for Jen to come down and join the team. It was an extremely talented squad, players that I was extremely lucky to play alongside, but players who Jen could develop her football on a daily basis with every single training session. There was a lot of experience in the team, and there was a real variety of the type of players where she could take bits from lots of the professionals that were there. And I think she's done that. She's someone she's a sponge, she takes it all in, she's very intelligent. And I think for all of these reasons, it's why she's been such a successful player over the years.
Yeah, and it strikes me that she's the kind of player that wants to give quite a lot back to the game as well, Joelle.
Yeah, she's a very good role model, not only to the younger girls, the grassroots level, but at the time when I was with the national team to myself, for example. Yeah, she's always very welcoming. You ask her for a bit of support, a bit of advice, and she's always there. So yeah, like Julie said, she's always a reliable person, a reliable teammate, and just a great person to have around.
If you're tuning in, hoping to see Scotland against Israel, there's a delay in kick-off. We should just tell you that. We will bring you the action as soon as we can, live from the National Stadium. Julie, I'm just thinking, what, they've been off the park, what, for 15 minutes or so now, if I can do my maths correctly. Will the players need to come back on to another warm-up? What will be the protocol, do you think?
At Hampden, you've got the luxury of that indoor warm-up area, so I'm quite sure that...
Will both teams be able to use that, though?
I think they will. I think they'll need to make sure that they can give both teams access. It's the same for both teams, so they're both waiting. They've both had an interruption to their kind of routine, their normal routine that they would go through. So, yes, I'm sure they'll be working hard to make sure that the starting 11 players are going to be ready to go whenever that's going to be. And that is the good thing about it being at Hampden, where they do have an area that they can still continue to be active.
Yeah, I suppose in this kind of situation, Joelle, it's the mental side of things, isn't it? It's how you keep switched on. You know, you're about to run out there and playing a game of football. The adrenaline would have been pumping around the body, and then all of a sudden you're hauled back.
Yeah, and we always talk about controlling the controllables. This is the exact opposite. It's an uncontrollable. So it is exactly like you said. It's controlling your adrenaline, keeping warm, because of course we don't want to start a game not feeling fit and fresh and ready to go. So controlling what we can control in an uncontrollable situation. Yeah,
it's a tricky situation for them all, isn't it? Let's talk a bit more about Pedro Martina-Losa, who has been linked with this potential move to Lyon. We don't quite know exactly what the precise circumstances are. He says it's all speculation. There might be something in it, there might not be. Are you surprised, Julie, that he's been linked with other jobs? Because the last few months, I think it's fair to say, from a Scotland point of view, have been quite tricky for him, haven't they?
I think he's had quite a tricky time since he came in. I think it's probably not the path or the kind of start to his managerial international career that he would have chosen. I think we haven't had the results that we probably feel that we deserve. But no one knows more than him that the results haven't been good enough, and that we want to qualify for major tournaments. We haven't done that under him. And that'll have been the task since he came in. He'll have been focused on that. So now's an opportunity now in this campaign that we have and this run of games to try and put that right, to put us in the best possible position that we can be in to start to go to tournaments again. Because we had that wee taste of it, where we had a couple in a row, and we really felt that the game was growing massively in Scotland, and we deserved to be playing on that stage. And I think it's been a bit of a disappointment over the last few years, but certainly I believe in the squad of players we've got, and hopefully in Pedro we've got someone who can take us to another tournament.
There was, I think it's fair to say, some questions raised when he was given a new, I think it was a 4 or 5 year contract off the back of Scotland failing to qualify for that World Cup via the playoff that they lost against the Republic of Ireland. What do you think of Pedro and what he's done with the squad and what he's brought to the squad? Has he developed it in the way that you would like to have seen it grow?
Yeah, I think it's difficult for any manager coming to any new club or any new kind of international team. They, of course, want to bring their own playing style, their own philosophy, and try and implement that in a way that it doesn't kind of disrupt any sort of momentum. And I think he's come in and he's certainly tried to implement the way he wants to play. He's been unfortunate in terms of injuries to certainly key players. But I'd like to think and hope that we have this kind of pivotal moment, whether that is tonight, that we can really turn and change that momentum into a positive one.
Yeah, and I suppose, Julie, when a new manager comes in, it maybe takes a little time for his ideas and what he wants to implement to kind of bed in to any squad, I guess.
It takes a lot longer as well in international football, because the amount of times you get to see your players is a lot less than at club level. I think when they come in, quite often they come in off the back of having a game at the weekend. So there is a process where they have to have a day's rest, and there's only so much you can do in terms of the training and the sessions that they have. So yes, at first that there was that. He's had a group of players who there hasn't been that many changes when you look at the lineup. They're players who he's been loyal to and bringing back into the squad, and the kind of only changes have really been forced through injury. And I think, as Joelle said, he has been really unfortunate because you've had really some of the best players that any team would miss. Caroline Weir, you take her out of a team and it totally changes things. So to lose really important players, especially for a country like Scotland, we can't afford to lose too many players to injury, because it does weaken our side. If you take out Erin Cuthbert, you take out Sam Kerr, you take out Caroline Weir, these are real key players. So we can't forget that, and it has probably been a more difficult job than what he would have liked.
Yeah, and I suppose he also has given some players a chance to show what they can do. He's brought in the likes of Amy Gallagher, Kirsty McLean, as well as come into the fore as well. So he is seeing what else is out there too, which is important, isn't it?
It's massively important. I think as a player, Julie, I'll agree that you always want a chance, and by playing well for your club, you give yourself the best chance possible to kind of put yourself in the shop window and be selected for the national team. So I think it is important that he is selecting players in form, players who are standing out for their club, and certainly the squad that we have for this camp shows that. We've got players that are winning accolades at end of season awards, and players that are really standing out week in, week out. So yeah, I think it's important that we pick our players that are in form.
Well, let me just bring you a slight update to events at Hampden. Of course, a delayed kick-off due to that incident at the National Stadium. We understand that things are progressing nicely. The players, we understand, are still indoors. They're going to come back out to do a warm-up for about 10 minutes or so, and then go back indoors and then get ready to kick off in this one. But, Julie, good news that the game, hopefully, in the next 10, 15 minutes, we will see some action. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yes, hopefully. Of course, we want to see the players at their best. You want to minimise the risk of injuries as well. So the players have to make sure that they're ready to start the game. So going through the warm-up process again is really key for them. So yeah, really disappointing that this has happened, because we were all ready to go, and none more so than the players, I'm sure.
Joelle, if you were in this situation, what would you be doing right now, apart from obviously keeping warm and all the rest of it? Would you be taking on board more information about your opponents? Would you be trying to kind of switch off from it all? How would you be coping with it?
Yeah, I think just giving myself a refresh, potentially refreshing across the set pieces, what I would be doing kind of in attack and defence. So just refreshing everything that had come before, and just like you said, keeping myself warm and keeping kind of my mind on the task in hand.
Julie, you'd be nipping out for a quick game of paddle, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't be reading the set plays. Sometimes I feel it's far too much information. But there is so much going through players' heads, and as I said earlier, everyone has their own individual routine that they go through. There's lots of superstitions in a dressing room, and this can really knock some players if they can't go through their normal routine. Hopefully we don't have any players. Hopefully that's in the Israel dressing room, and our players come out and they're absolutely sharp and ready to go.
Yeah, I find that fascinating, actually. If there is someone, and we're about to see the players coming out for their second warm-up, but if there is someone who's got these superstitions, do they have to redo them all again? What happens in that situation, Joelle?
Yeah, probably. I think if there's any players with a superstition in the kind of 10, 15 minutes prior to walking out, I think they would need to go through. I didn't, actually. I didn't.
You've gone a full career with no superstitions.
Well, the only thing that I made sure on a warm-up, I always had to be the last in the line. So I guess that's maybe a superstition.
Well, when you were coming out to warm up?
I had to be last out of the dressing room.
Pre-match, really.
That was mine.
I couldn't really do that.
Well, no, I was the same. I would just meet them in the tunnel.
So why was that? What was the thinking behind
ridiculous. I don't know. I don't even know when it started, but I would always like to be last out the dressing room, and then when I was Scotland captain, the team would have to wait for me. I remember being at Arsenal, and the players, some of them would hide in the toilet to try and throw me off. Then I would be out and see them coming out behind.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you ever not manage to make it out last and then have a stink of a game, and that was you, right, never again, I'm always going out last?
I have no idea how on earth that was going to impact the game at all. It's absolutely ridiculous when you talk about it now. It's not important. But I mean, there's probably players in terms of their routine of putting on their jersey and where they stand in the line, or it's things that they eat. as well, or eat or drink. So there'll be a time of when they eat that before the kick-off, how long before. So there are lots of kind of implications for before kick-off for players nowadays. But hopefully the most important thing is when the game starts, the players are focused, they're ready to go, they know the importance of this game, and they know that what's important is the 3 points, it's the win. Yes, we want goals, but first and foremost, it's a win.
Yeah, to try and get that win on the board. To, of course, keep that unbeaten start to the campaign going. There was a draw and then there was the win last time out. You know, it's important. Everyone talks about momentum and how that instills confidence and positivity. It's really important to keep that going in a campaign where, of course, the qualification is quite a convoluted process. But you need to be in amongst it. You need to keep on getting the points, don't you?
You do, yeah, and I think anyone that maybe hasn't played the game maybe thinks when we talk about positive momentum, breeding belief and confidence, it's just cliche, it's just a piece of terminology, but certainly as a player myself, it gives you that belief, that momentum, that continuity, and I think it certainly does enhance performances.
Yeah, we can just see the Scotland manager there, Pedro Martinez Losa. Looks quite calm, chewing the chewing gum away there. Julie, what will be going through his mind? He'll again, like the players, he'll just want to get on with this, won't he?
His superstition was that he puts a bit of chewing gum in his mouth before he goes out. Now he's going to need to refresh that because it'll not be minty anymore.
Oh, I tell you.
No, I mean, I'm sure coaches have the same thing, but yeah, he'll be just hoping now that his players are focused and ready to go. They'll have had the build-up and he'll have put everything in place, given them all the tools that they require to go out and win the game, and he'll just be hoping that when the whistle goes to start the game, that they're absolutely on point and that they're focused and ready.
And of course, you'll get a take two on the old manager's team talk on the way out as well, don't they? So it's a bonus all round.
Yeah, I think, like Julie said, he may have his superstitions that he might need to repeat, and probably will refresh that team talk just so that it is fresh in the players' minds literally before they step onto the pitch.
Yeah, let's just recap on the team news for you. Of course, 4 players coming in. We saw Kirsty Hansen there. We talked about the importance of her. The other changes, Julie, as well. Key players coming back from injury, maybe a little bit of chance. Martha Thomas, we can see there as well, a little bit of chance to show the manager what they've been missing in their absence.
Yeah, I think just looking at Martha Thomas there, it's a big night for Martha Thomas because we've talked already in the programme about the lack of goals. I think the pressure is on. That's our number 9. That's the player who's going to be leading the line, and that's who the wingers are going to be looking for, the deliveries into the box. So it is a bit of pressure on her because we need goals, we need momentum to turn. We know that we've struggled to score goals, and certainly Martha Thomas being at the top of the pitch there. Not only will she be leading the line when we don't have the ball in terms of the press, because we're going to want to press them high, but she's also going to need to be available and picking out those right positions, being instinctive in the box, and getting on the end of things.
Yeah, Hansen, of course, we've mentioned Cornet as well, coming in as well, back into the team. Emsley too, we haven't really spoken a lot about her. She's back into the side as well. What does she offer the Scotland team, Joelle?
I think her creative nature, her ability to play with both feet. I think Kirsty Hansen and Claire Emsley could probably switch and play as inverted wingers. So yeah, Claire brings a lot of creativity, direct, positive play, and she's been in really good form for her club, Angel City. So like all the other players, hopefully she brings that form into tonight's game.
Yeah, and of course having those players back in the starting lineup means that the bench is stronger as well, Julie, which could be important if they're looking to try and get something out of this game as the clock ticks on.
Yeah, I think at international football then your bench is always really important because there are key moments in games where you need to change things if they're not working, and he will be looking to his bench to see what he does have and where he can bring players on. And obviously the more players that we get back from injury, then the stronger that bench becomes. But just going back to Claire Emsley, I think Joelle's spot on in what she can offer us. But what I've always been impressed at is her work rate. I think when we don't have the ball, she's that one player that's willing to run, that's willing to charge things down. She tracks back, she helps the player behind her. And today that's either going to be Lisa Evans if she's going to be playing on the right, or it'll be Nicola Docherty. And I think that that spreads throughout the team when you've got a player who works extremely hard off the ball. I think that can really filter through to the rest of them.
Yeah, and a lot of players who domestically have had good seasons as well. The likes of Nicola Docherty, you mentioned there, just fresh from winning the Scottish Cup. They'll take that form back into their national side as well. It's important, again, that word momentum that you spoke about.
Yeah, absolutely. We speak about it a lot, and we do have a lot of players, like I said, like Nicola Docherty, like Kirsty Hansen, like Claire Emsley, who have had a fantastic season at their club. And from an individual perspective, they will want to carry those performances into these next 2 games.
Right, let's waste no time in handing back to Hampden, because we have got action. We're going to hand over to the national anthems, and it's Gemma Face, former Scotland goalkeeper, alongside Alistair Lammett, bringing us all the action.
Thanks again, Jane. Yeah, just in time for the national anthems. Well, we are just about ready to get underway in highly unusual circumstances here at Hampden. Let's have a look at the respective teams for this evening's game. Pedro Martinez Losa has made 4 changes from the victory over Slovakia, including an entirely new front 3 as Kirsty Hansen, Martha Thomas and Claire Emsley all come in, as does Chelsea Cornett, who won the Scottish Cup here with Rangers on Sunday. Dropping out from the previous game are Fiona Brown, Kirsty Smith, Jenna Clark and Jane Ross. The latter 3 are all on the bench. Israel also make 4 changes as they search for a first point in qualifying after opening defeats by Slovakia and Serbia. The players coming in this evening are Itaf Aikisi, Meital Sharabi, Irina Kuznetsov and Eden Avital. A big miss for Israel is the injured Sharon Beck, who scored 9 goals in 4 Nations League games. So the players gathering Vital Katz is one of few familiar faces in the Israeli lineup. She spent a year at Glasgow City in 21-22. And Martha Thomas just behind Sam Kerr there. Her return from injury is a real boost for the Scots, with 3 goals in her 2 international appearances prior to injury. And this evening's referee, the Italian Deborah Bianchi. So beautiful conditions at the National Stadium this evening, very still, and still a bit of late sunshine as the 2 sets of players emerge from their respective huddles before getting underway here just about half an hour after the scheduled kick-off time. Pedro Martinez Losa looking calm ahead of this contest, which is side certainly the hot favourites to win it. And Erez Belfer of Israel looking to try and create something of a surprise here as the 2 teams change ends. And it will be Scotland to eventually get us underway, hoping to continue that unbeaten start to the qualifying campaign. 6 points from the doubleheader will assure them of progress to the first playoff round and potentially top of the group ahead of the final qualifiers in July. It's Sam Kerr then who awaits the referee's whistle. And we're off and running. Scotland will look to try and make a good early start here. Alongside me, Gemma Fay. Gemma, half an hour there that the players have had to, warm up inside and just kick their heels as much as anything else. How difficult would that have been for them?
Yeah, good evening. Look, it's a situation they probably would have been briefed about beforehand. Nobody knew how tonight would go or will go. So this be about preparation and I guess more your mental preparation for a game like this. How do you deal with adversity? How do you deal with change? We heard in the studio both Joelle and Julie talk about pre-match routines, etc. Part of being a top sport player is being able to adapt under pressure. So it looks like they're focused, a good early start, and let's just see how they settle into this game.
There's Nicola Docherty seen that one behind. She lifted the Scottish Cup here as the captain of Rangers on Sunday. Looking to make a successful return this evening with the national side. Sophie Howard who got the winning goal against Slovakia here in the last game. Captain Rachel Corsie fires one out to the left-hand side. It's a good ball for Claire Emsley. Back to Docherty. Scotland, you would imagine, Gemma, will see an awful lot of the ball tonight. It's about maybe staying patient while they wait for the breakthrough.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with both Julie and Joelle in terms about getting the ball wide to Claire Emsley, Kirsty Hansen, who can be direct in those wide areas. We've seen from Israel, particularly against that 4-2 loss against Serbia, when you run at their fullbacks at pace, they struggle. So I think that will be an area we will look to exploit, and with the quality that we can get from both Emsley and Hansen, and with Martha Thomas back in there, I believe we will create chances.
There's Martha Thomas getting it back to Sophie Howard. And there's Kerr. Hanson's actually started in a
Yeah,
rather
I was
central area.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, interesting. We'll see how that kind of works out. I would suggest that she's probably more effective in a wider area, but let's see how Pedro's planned this out tonight.
Yeah, it looks like Lisa Evans, who we kind of had down as playing at right back. I mean, she is part of a back four, but she's playing very high. There doesn't seem to be anyone really directly in front of her on this right-hand side. Ball's over on the far side right now with Claire Emsley taking the throw in. Martha Thomas will try and make something of this and goes down under the challenge. But referee not interested in any claims that she might have made.
It's a good hustle there from Martha Thomas. I'd like to see that one back again.
And she certainly got wrong side of the defender. It's good play, and Emsley will latch onto that. Martha Thomas leaves it and makes her way into the penalty area. Emsley's attempted cutback, couldn't get past the first defender. Scotland have won it back again. It's Hanson, and well, not sure that's what she necessarily had in mind, but it was close to finding the back of the net in the end.
That qualifies as an attempt on target, doesn't it? Or is it off if it's on the crossbar? Yeah. No, you're right. If you look at the setup here defensively from this by kick, it looks like Hanson and Thomas both up front. Then you've got a three sitting behind that with Lisa Evans playing slightly higher. Erin Cuthbert middle and Claire Emsley over on the left, with Sam Kerr and Chelsea Cornett just balancing off in that midfield. Slight change from what we've seen previously.
Let's see how it works out for Scotland. Certainly, we're saying they dominate possession, and one issue for Scotland in recent years almost has been a lack of ability to turn chances into goals. So perhaps a slight tweak to the formation will help. Certainly been doing most of the attack in these early stages this evening. Scotland corner then, what can they make of this? To the near post, Israel scrambling it behind.
Yeah, I was watching the Israeli goalkeeper Fortuna Rubin warm up. She's not the most confident under crosses, so the in-swinger is exactly the cross that I would be testing with early on.
Erin Cuthbert to try again then. Scotland looking for the opening goal. That one doesn't beat the first defender. Another corner comes Scotland's way. It was 8-0 the last time they had a home game against Israel, albeit that was back in 2012.
That's when I was playing. Back in your day.
A quiet night that night.
Did a lot of running in my box that night.
Take similar again, that's for sure. You would imagine Israel should be able to put up a better contest this evening. But they are on the back foot here, but Thomas, that's deflected behind in the end, and it'll be another Scotland corner.
Yeah, it's good early pressure from Scotland, good variety. Is looking across their corner count over the last 2 games, including that's 17 now corners that they've had. These are attacking opportunities, set-piece opportunities, where we should be able to, with the quality in that box, be more dominant and make them count. So it'd be excellent if Scotland could get off to a great start and capitalise on the pressure here.
Erin Cuthbert trying a training ground move there, it doesn't really come off, but the Scots have won it back again. Thomas is really trying to come forward themselves, but that's quickly thwarted.
Just something Scotland need to keep an eye on. We've seen this previously where they've dominated possession early on, and then they give up a chance or an opportunity that gives confidence to the opposition. we do know that, having looked at their previous games in this group, that Israel can score goals. They scored some spectacular goals against Serbia, so we do not want to give them that opportunity, especially in transition.
Pedro Martinez Losa linked with the vacant Lyon post in the last few days, although he has dismissed that as simply speculation, as Erin Cuthbert seemed to be fouled there. The referee had a good look at it and decided there was nothing amiss, and Israel will come forward themselves, looking to begin to make an impact on the game. That goes Sophie Howard though. It's good defending. Clearance though. Goes straight to Avital. Now it's Selim Hodzic. Well, a crack at goal, but safely taken by Lee Gibson, but a bit of action for the Scotland goalkeeper.
Yeah, body behind it, good save in the end. But we talked about I talked about a bit earlier on that Israel are not afraid to take shots from distance. They do like to transition and transition quickly. But I'd be slightly upset if it was Erin Cuthbert. It looked like a clear foul from here.
Yeah, referees, that's a couple of challenges on Scotland players that have gone unpunished so far.
It does seem like she wants to let the game flow, as they say.
Care for Cornet. Joe Corsi now trying to find a way through. The offside flag is up.
Yeah, and this is a challenge you're going to get. Israel, how deep they are sitting. They're just trying to close off all that space. So Scotland are going to have to be creative. You saw there it was a run from deep from, well, not quite from deep, but Nicola Docherty up high. Unfortunate, she just could hold her on a little bit more, but they're going to have to be quite creative to find ways through that Israeli block. But that will get tiresome for them. You can't sit in and defend like that for 90 minutes and there not be holes appearing in that defence.
Erin Cuthbert, fresh from yet another WSL win with Chelsea. Hansen now, it's a good challenge and a vital one that went in before Kirsty Hansen was able to get the shot away.
Absolutely, but brilliant play. Erin Cuthbert, as Julie said before the game, getting the ball, driving at defence is a good peel-off play there by Martha Thomas. A lovely pass slipped into Kirsty Hansen, who made that angled run, but an excellent challenge, you have to say, in terms of defensively from Israel, because Hansen was just about to take that effort on goal.
Shahar Nakar, the captain it was, who just slid in at the last moment to take it away from Hansen. It's a good touch from Hansen, take it away from her marker. Fired in. And that time the free kick is awarded, but it's against Scotland.
Yeah, what I liked about that is there's real early pressure that Israel trying to play out. You saw Nicola Docherty was right up on the toes of the Israeli player, winning the ball back high, not giving them the opportunity to turn or get comfortably off a pass. And straight away, Scotland looking with intent and intensity to get that ball forward.
Scotland's win over Slovakia last month, their first in a competitive match since beating Austria 1-0 here in the World Cup playoff semi-final. It was back in October of 2022. 3 draws and 5 defeats in between. As Erin Cuthbert gives chase, should keep that one in. So the throw-in's going Israel's way.
I think we can safely say she disagrees with that decision.
Erin Cuthbert never one to hide her emotions. But she's had another fabulous season at Chelsea, hasn't she?
Oh yeah, she has, and she's turned into, well, she's a leader here, but really emerged at Chelsea in the last couple of years as a real leader in the park for them. And if we can get the ball to Erin, if we can allow her the freedom to express herself, she will create opportunities for others and herself. And I feel like we just haven't been able to do that in the last few matches. But when we do, we get fluidity in our play, we get a bit of flow and connection throughout the team.
There's Emsley. To Cornet. So another of those Rangers players who successfully came here and won their first Scottish Cup for the club on Sunday after the disappointment of losing out to their great rival Celtic on goal difference for the league title. Given away in a dangerous area, and Lisa Evans well advanced. Takes it back to Cornet. And now Kerr.
It's in those situations you've got Lisa Evans one-on-one. She's got the ability and she's still got the pace to be able to take on that defender, and that's where I think that Israel have some problems. So in those situations, I want to see Lisa getting at the defender and delivering either that cut back or cross into the area. I think that's where we could probably step this up and put a bit more pressure on Israel.
Emsley, this guy's pass for Docherty. Not a bad ball in. Can Thomas has just cleared the way before she could spin and knock that into the net.
Oh, that was a fantastic little bit of play out there on the left-hand side. Overlap there by Nick Dock. It's that ball into that kind of corridor of indecision between defenders and goalkeeper. Goalkeeper gets a touch on it, which probably puts Martha Thomas off, but I would want more. Would want more from a striker committing to that ball in that situation. But positive play from Scotland.
It was Nakav who made the final clearance. Once again, the Israeli captain, Erin Cuthbert, just getting away with one a moment ago. She almost got caught in possession. The referee allowing play to continue. And here comes Scotland once more. Here's Thomas. Swings it to the back post, a great ball! And Scotland have the opening goal, and it's Claire Emsley arriving. Perfect timing. Wonderful ball in from Martha Thomas, and Claire Emsley in at the back post to put Scotland in front, capitalising on that early pressure, and they do have the goal advantage.
Yeah, well, she caught us all out. We've been talking about the service into the box from Martha Thomas, but she's turned the tables on us there. A fantastic ball over the left foot, just curls it into that back area, and we've seen Claire Emsley do this time and time again, timing that run to the back post, adjusts her body to ensure that she can direct the ball into the net. And 1-0 Scotland, and a thoroughly deserved 1-0 Scotland in this opening period of the match.
Yeah, and that should really help them, because it's, as you say, well deserved. But the longer it goes at nothing each when you're on top, the frustration grows. But having the breakthrough now after 17 minutes, Claire Emsley's 13th goal for our country and our 63rd cap. And Martha Thomas showing that she can do good work outside the box as well as inside. Cuthbert just trying to play that inside, looking for Evans. She's done well, Lisa Evans. Cuthbert, another disguised pass, this time for Thomas, that was blocked away. Picked up by Howard, who fancies her chances, and it's not too far over the bar.
Yeah, and I think what's been pleasing in this opening 18 minutes of the match is the variety of attacking that we've seen from Scotland. The last match against Slovakia, we kind of huffed and puffed our way through that game. Got a goal from a set piece, but we didn't look that convincing. With the likes of Martha Thomas coming back in, Kirsty Hansen coming back in, there seems to be far more balance and creativity in that attack, and it's enjoyable to watch.
Rachel Corsie, who won our 150th cap in that last game against Slovakia. Does that mean she's past your cap record or approaching it, Gemma? I can't quite recall. Didn't look that one up.
Well, Rachel Corsie, 150. Yes. Not quite, not yet. She's got a few more to go. Just a couple.
Right, okay.
Not many. 53 if you want to know. 53 more to go. That's fine. I know. I just hung around for a while, you know.
That's going to be like a world record or something.
But you know, the sad thing is nowhere near the world record. I think it's still, and the girls back in the studio, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's still Christine Lilly from the US. Well, you can have a guess how many of those she's got.
You might have to give me till half time till I Google it.
No Googling allowed, that's cheating. It's unlucky there from Lisa Evans, but I love that little run that Erin does. She just finds that space, finds that angle between the midfield and defence. And if that ball, it would have been a hard ball, but if you could have angled it a little bit better, she might be able to take that inside. But she's absolutely having a ball out there in the midfield and just having the opportunity to pull the strings.
Here's Hansen picking up the loose ball. Into Cornet. Trying to switch out to Evans, doesn't get there. She is again Lisa Evans. The Bristol City side relegated from the WSL. Corsie clips that forward. Thomas is a good run. She's just not going to catch that one.
It's unfortunate. She just checked her run ever so slightly there. I'm wondering if she carried it on, she might have caught that. But once again, you can see the pockets of space that they're trying to hit between the full-back and the centre half, which will draw out one of the centre halves, create space for that supporting run inside.
There's Avital playing the 1-2. Sommer in there battling as well. This ball picked up by Emsley. Here's Evans. Slides that one through for Thomas, just a little bit overcooked there. Right idea though.
Just ever so slightly, because she'd picked up a good position in the middle there, just hang back. You can see she's completely played onside by the left back and also by the right back and the right centre half. A little bit less on that ball and she's in one-on-one.
And she has got good movement though, hasn't she? Martha Thomas makes good runs.
Yeah, and I think what's good to hear is if you're watching the movement, both from Hansen and Martha Thomas, even Cuthbert, just interchanging around that kind of front three area, causing confusion in that Israeli defence about who's going where, what runs to take. And all that's doing is creating pockets of space for somebody else to exploit in the team. So the movement is really good to see.
Yeah, it's an interesting, it's almost an unconventional formation that Scotland are playing, isn't it? It's quite lopsided with, as I say, Lisa Evans playing pretty much as a right winger, even though she's nominally right back. But it's working well so far, as you're saying, Jim.
Yeah, and I think what it looks like Pedro set the team up to do is to exploit the weaknesses that Israel have, but also understand the way in which Israel are defending, which I've watched the Serbia match and also the Slovakia match. The defence do get pulled with the player, so they naturally, they won't hold their space, they get pulled out of spaces. So by creating overloads in situations, they are aware that those spaces are going to become available. And what we're seeing is, you've seen it already, Martha Thomas a couple of times, Erin Cuthbert a couple of times. They're identifying those spaces earlier and just making runs into them.
Sam Kerr penalised there. A rare opportunity here for Israel to move up the park. Here it comes to Sharabi. It's over Sommer. Howard venturing forward, venturing a long way before finding Evans. Just not able to quite wrap the right boot round that to keep it in play.
No, that's a disappointing cross. It's good positive play here by Sophie Howard. One of the ways in which you can get the team to move, I talked earlier about how Israel were sitting in a lot, is that you have to have somebody driving, often a defender, driving into that space to make them come and take the ball away, create space. And it's a good pass out to Lisa, and I'd expect her to get a better cross in than that. But good positive play by Sophie Howard.
Better play from Israel. A few passes together to get themselves out from defence. Can they make something more of it now? This is Kuznetsov. She did well to get the ball back and then slides it out of play. The other side too have had a bit of success of their own in the Nations League recently, albeit coming from League C, but they won that in pretty convincing style against Estonia, Kazakhstan and Armenia. But they're in danger here as Erin Cuthbert tries to poke the ball through. She was looking for Evans, it almost came for Thomas. Eventually mopped up.
Yeah, as you said at the top of the programme, Sharon Beck, who's unfortunately missing for Israel tonight, was top scorer in the Nations League with 9 goals in that League C support and promotion. And when you take somebody like that out of a team like Israel, it's like taking a Caroline Weir and then us not having an Erin Cuthbert that can provide us with some spark of creativity. They don't have a huge depth of talent at this level. So it's really, really difficult for a team like Israel to be able to continue to perform like that when you take key players out.
No free kick there as Nakav went down rather easily in the middle of the park. Still just the 1 goal in it, scored by Claire Emsley, who's in possession right now. Howard out to Evans, just asking a little bit much of her there.
And I kind of spoke to you before the game about what I would like to see from our Scotland team, and I said I'd like to see us dominate, I'd like to see us be ruthless. And it's moments like that if we allow that to creep into the game, and I know it's just one pass, but it's about an expectation of what we want to demand from each other. So I want Scotland to not let up. I want us to be ruthless. I want us to be accurate and demanding the quality of passes we have. And we have tonight been a much closer to that level. But it's little things like that we've seen in the past from the Scotland team that creep into the game, that those are the kind of things that we just don't want to see in our play.
care. Kirsty Hansen just dropping off the front and wriggling through a couple of challenges. Israel have it back though. It's over Sophie Howard, and this is an opportunity for Israel to equalise. Good save from Lee Gibson to deny Talia Sommer, who really should have scored. And Israel come again, and this time is blocked by Howard. And a couple of real warnings there for the Scots that they could be punished for any lackadaisical defending.
And as I mentioned merely minutes ago, those are the things that we've seen previously. Good save by Lee Alexander and a good recovery, but it's moments like that where Scotland cannot let complacency creep into their game. They must be switched on, they must be focused, they must get their positioning right and not give any sense of hope to the opposition that they can come back into this game.
Here's Erin Cuthbert at the other end, though, looking to provide a threat of her own. Oh my goodness, Martha Thomas has somehow missed it, and then it's forced in by Kirsty Hansen. Now, has the referee, is she giving a goal or is she pointing for a free kick?
I have no idea. It's really confusing. It looks like it's doesn't look like anything right now.
I don't want you to commit here now, Gemma.
So that looks fine. That looks...
Yeah, it's got to be a goal, isn't it?
Is it? Yes.
Well, confusion reigns, but it looks like Kirsty Hansen has given Scotland a second goal here.
Now, I don't know if Kirsty Hansen's told the referee it's a goal, the referee's told Kirsty Hansen a goal, but it says 2 on the scoreboard, so we're going for a goal.
I mean, how Martha Thomas missed the initial opportunity, goodness only knows, but Kirsty Hansen, the beneficiary, as she eventually tapped in at the second attempt for her third Scotland goal.
I feel like I need to do that again because I didn't celebrate. That's a goal for Scotland. Yes, so at the other end, I hadn't even finished talking about the fact that we were lackadaisical in defence and we got our positioning a bit wrong, but I asked them to be ruthless and they go up the other end and they do that. So a good response to what could have been a little bit of a shock for Scotland.
It is 2-0, just for the avoidance of doubt.
And I know I'm supposed to describe what I saw, but I can't remember what I saw.
It was untidy, let's put it that way. And I wondered initially if the referee had given a free kick, either for an offside against Martha Thomas or even for a potential foul in there. But thankfully it was neither. It was pointing towards the centre spot because Kirsty Hansen had notched her third Scotland goal. And here she is looking to create a third goal in the night for Scotland, but not on this occasion. And a more comfortable cushion now for the Scots after that scare at the other end. It has to be said that they could so easily have been level at 1 each just 60 seconds or so before.
Absolutely. But what I would say is I would continue to pepper I would continue to pepper Rubin with crosses in that kind of 6-yard, 8-yard space. I'd put the ball in high, I'd put the ball in low, because we've seen a couple of times now that she's not entirely comfortable in terms of her timing or collecting that ball, and there's definitely opportunities for Scotland to exploit there.
Pedro Martinez Losa, you can see at the top left here, screen out there, encouraging his players to keep going, not to let up, get more goals, as Gemma has also been demanding.
And you think he's got to be happy with this performance so far. I mean, there's definitely things that they can work on.
Thomas just can't quite latch on to the pass from corner, which has won her side a corner. Good persistence there from the striker.
Yeah, you can see she's hungry. She's been hassling every defender. She's been working hard. She's been chasing after balls, which are just, she knows she's not going to get an opportunity with them. But just by putting pressure on the opposition, she's gained a set piece here for her team. So I've been really impressed with how she's come back into the team tonight so far.
And Cuthbert to put in the latest Scotland corner. It's Thomas who rises. Just a slight touch on that, I think. Chance there, and it's off the upright. As Scotland look for a third goal, and then Cornet denied. More international football coming your way on Monday night. It's Gibraltar against Scotland as the Scotland men continue their build-up for the Euros.
This time I think it's Erin coming in there, Martha making that run. Kirsty Hansen on the follow-up. She'll be disappointed. I think she probably could have done a little bit better with that. But once again, the variety we see Erin Cuthbert out there on the left-hand side cutting in. So it's great to see the interchanging of positions, the different movement. It's great to see how hungry all the players are. It's been, so far in the first, 34 minutes, probably the most dominant display that we've seen from Scotland in a while, and some of the most creative play that we've seen as well.
Scotland are unbeaten in their last 4 games, couple of wins, couple of draws, and well on the way to another victory this evening, but they will want to make it more emphatic before the reverse fixture on Tuesday, which is out in Hungary.
Yeah, and let's caveat all with that with there's an expectation that Scotland beat Israel. I firmly believe that we're a better team and we are better players. An expectation in the fact that you have better quality players and a better quality team doesn't always equate to the performance you see on the pitch or the result you see on the pitch. But I think that's adding up so far tonight.
And Cuthbert just finding a little bit of space for a neat turn. She find the final ball in. She's looking for Hansen, doesn't quite come for her. Cornet though. Out to Howard. Evans wants it. Every Scotland player keen to get on the ball, as Thomas does exactly that, and then slips it through. It's a big chance for Kirsty Hansen. Must be Claire Emsley with her second of the night and Scotland's third. A wonderfully crafted goal, you would have to say. Terrific disguise in the pass from Thomas, an unselfish play from Hansen. And although he's not in celebratory moods right now, Pedro Martinez-Losa will be delighted with that goal.
Yeah, the best goal of the night so far, without a shadow of a doubt. Just the interchanging of play. I was about to have a go at Lisa Evans again for not going one-on-one, but she slips that ball inside. Wonderful body position by Martha Thomas to roll the defender, slips the ball through, and great, you have to say, absolutely great awareness from Kirsty Hansen to know where Claire Emsley is. The timing of the run from Claire Emsley, and what a fantastic finish.
She wasn't going to miss that one, was she?
I mean, I've seen them missed, but no. Not with that look on her face.
So it's 14 in a Scotland shirt for Claire Emsley and 3 on the night for Scotland in just over half an hour. And it's all going according to plan for Pedro Martinez-Losa on his side. Cornet picking up. Scotland eager for more before half-time. Hansen making the move. Keeper hasn't held that, but she has kept it from going in again. Hansen dispossessed, but it will be a corner. She's a good game as well, Kirsty Hansen, isn't she?
Yeah, she's been really busy. But as I say, they're all complementing each other. Their work rate is giving Scotland the right to be so dominant in possession and so emphatic in front of the goal.
And Cuthbert sends in the latest corner. That's a confident and comfortable take that time for Fortuna Rubin, under no pressure, it has to be said.
And if you were to talk about improvements that could be made, I think I said at the start of the show, from corners we don't seem to be that threatening, and we know how vital set pieces can be in games where we're playing perhaps a tougher opposition. So that's an area I think where we can probably look to improve in terms of execution seems to be well, but in terms of attacking that ball in the box, we don't seem to really be going in there and looking like that we're going to be threatening with a, you know, any sort of speed or pace from a header or anything.
It's good play from Emsley. It's not a bad ball in. She's entitled to expect her teammate to be moving on to that one. It really has just about all been Scotland, save for that little scare before the second goal went in. Could all have been very different had Lee Gibson not been able to keep that one out. There's Cuthbert going for it, and another good take from Rubin. One you'd expect her to make, certainly, but there were Scotland players closing in had she not been able to hold it.
Yeah, good play again, good strength there by Hansen. And Erin's on target, and she'll be disappointed because her ability to wrap her foot around that and connect with that, sending it into the top corner, we know that she's got that, and she can usually do that with her eyes shut. So good position, good build-up play again, but if we want to demand more from herself, I think she knows she can do better with that shot.
Remember, she scored from that kind of distance against Jamaica, wasn't it? It was here at Hampden.
That was just tapping, that one. It was also accompanied by a fantastic knee slide, if I remember correctly.
Quite rightly. Deservedly so. There's Docherty into Erin Cuthbert. Now Hansen spins one way, then the other. Looks like she's enjoying herself out there. Comes to Emsley. Cornet just turning into trouble there. And rather, well, a yellow card for Sophie Howard, and I don't think she gets too many complaints there. Pretty cynical.
Yeah, pretty cynical. I think it's really her first tackle of the day. I'm sure I would be a bit annoyed at a yellow card for that, but hey-ho. But smart decision based on what they've previously faced and the opportunity that Israel previously have had. Just allows Scotland to reset.
Play from Katz, but Scotland almost nicking the ball back there. And Cuthbert picks up for Scotland, slides it forward for Hansen against Kuznetsov. She's got the better of her. With Cuthbert, Rachel Corsie joining in, and well off target. Beg your pardon, it was Chelsea Cornet.
I was about to say, how did she get from there to there?
But either way, well wide of goal.
Yeah, looks like Kirsty Hansen's really enjoying herself out there. Her ability to manipulate her body, to put the defender, think she's going one way, go the other. Just thought maybe she could have slid that one in for Martha Thomas instead of cutting it back to Erin Cuthbert, but let her off with that one.
I mean, both of those players you mentioned, they are playing well tonight. Over the course of the time they've been with Scotland, they've been beset by injuries, both of them, but I think both of them have been largely injury-free for most of this last season, and you can kind of sense that they do look sharp, fit, and on good form.
Absolutely, and we remember that spell that Kirsty Hansen had before she got an injury, where she was just absolutely sensational for Scotland. That was before those losses in a row. But I think if they're available, and what you think about, and you shouldn't do this, you should think about the team that you have, but you think about those still to come back into the team, like Caroline Weir and Emma Watson, and you start to see the basis of what's a really exciting prospect and a team that should be in Switzerland next year.
Martha Thomas not quite getting there. Lisa Evans, I think that clipped the crossbar as it headed over.
Yeah, so much time for Nicola Docherty to put this ball in, and I'm not sure it clipped the crossbar.
No, maybe not.
You're being a bit kind there. just leans back. If she leans her body over that, she might get that shot on target. But once again, good positive play.
It's out of play. Scotland will have a throw in, hoping to add a fourth goal. It's been a tough first half for the Israelis. Most of them will be pretty unused to playing on a pitch this size. And that will begin to tell even more in the second half, you would imagine. The Scots generally play at a higher level than them, will be used to the greater intensity of international football. And all those should work in Scotland's favour in the second period. A minute to be added on at the end of this first half. And, not too much to grumble about for the Scotland fans. Watching at home largely. There's a few family members of the Scotland team in this evening. As Hansen is just sees the door closed upon her there. Lead off for Evans. Thomas. And now Kerr. Cornet does well now, Cuthbert. So one final chance in the half for the Scots. Out to Evans. Can she find a teammate at the back post? It was Hansen who went up there. Heads wide.
Yeah,
goal kick only.
Once again, lovely, patient build from Scotland. Israel are giving them space and allowing them time to do it, but at the same time, it's nice, it's sharp, it's crisp. There's good movement, there's positive movement into the box. Hansen not quite there with the header, but that would have been a nice one to round off this half with.
This goal kick, you would imagine, would be the last act of the first period. Cuthbert is the header forward, and Thomas might get the shot away here. And there is the half-time whistle to end a first period dominated by the Scots. And they have 3 goals to show for it, 2 for Claire Emsley, the first and the third. And in between, Kirsty Hansen goal after Martha Thomas was denied. And it has been pretty impressive first half showing from the Scots. Although they survived a brief scare ahead of the second goal going in, but Pedro Martinez Losa can be well pleased with the application and finishing of his side in that first half at the National Stadium, where the scoreline at half-time is Scotland 3, Israel 0.
Well, after a delay of over half an hour, Scotland showed plenty of intent in this one. Lots of possession and chances early on as well. They eventually made it all count. Claire Emsley opened the scoring, a lovely ball in. Kirsty Hansen then made it 2-0. Scotland were well on top. Emsley then grabbing her second of the night, and Scotland at 3-0 up are well in control. Well, let's get the thoughts of Joelle Murray and Julie Fleeting on this one. Julie, you wanted goals, you've got them?
Yeah, I think it was a really convincing performance first half from Scotland. I think totally dominated possession. Initially, we had to be patient. Israel were playing quite deep, but I think that helped us get into the flow. I think we played with a real high intensity, and I think knocked the ball about really well. Thoroughly deserved to go in 3 goals up. And I think the goals, when you look at them, were really well-worked goals.
Really impressive that that delay that we spoke about didn't affect them at all.
Yeah, it certainly didn't affect them at all. The girls from the first whistle played with intent, played with a focus and a direct nature of their game, and got the goals their initial early play deserved.
And Gemma and Alistair, when they were giving us the commentary, they noticed almost straight away that this change in shape that Scotland have been playing with allowed a lot more creativity. Julie, would you say?
I think when you look at the players on the pitch, there's a lot of variety there, because what we do have, and we thought they were going to play with two fullbacks, and we talked about how attacking they can be. Well, actually one of them turned out to be a wing-back, so they played with a back three. So you then had Claire Emsley and Lisa Evans playing as wing-backs. You had Erin Cuthbert playing off a front two of Kirsty Hansen and Martha Thomas. And I think the focus was getting players into the box, committing numbers forward, and Claire Emsley from a left wing-back position has scored 2 goals. We've seen Lisa Evans been on the end of a cross from Claire Emsley, so they're attacking in numbers, and that's what we want to see. I think that's why we've had success in that first half, because there's plenty of attacking options for the player on the ball.
Yeah, a bold move, I guess, by Pedro, but it's paying off.
It absolutely is paying off. They've obviously done their homework, and like Julie said, we're not only progressing up the pitch, but we're progressing up the pitch in numbers. And we spoke about Claire Emsley's work rate off the ball before the game, and she's showed that in abundance. A wing-back position, you naturally have to go box to box, and she's done that and got her rewards at the top end of the pitch.
Yeah, Scotland early on, we said they started with intent, and they created plenty of chances as well early on. They were looking good.
Yeah, I think right from the start they were creating opportunities and putting pressure on the Israel box. I think they were defending in numbers, and here it was kind of Martha Thomas just trying to get on the end of a Kirsty Hansen cross. She's well marked on that occasion, and for me, Israel probably defended quite well at the start of the game. But then the through ball, Martha Thomas, a willing runner, and you can see the vision. She's looking up, she's trying to see what support she's got, and even just in that picture there, the amount of players that we've got in the box who are willing to get forward, who are desperate to get on the end of crosses, just shows you that the players are desperate to score goals, are desperate to win this game, and it doesn't matter who it is. They've got plenty of options in the box.
And I think the significant thing on this occasion is that, we've seen in the past Scotland creating plenty of chances, being very frustrated, not being clinical, but they come good eventually, and then when one comes in, the other two follow.
Yeah, and I think that naturally happens. I think, like you said, we talk about that kind of fine margins, that clinical nature, being ruthless, and certainly the girls have been that. Had to be patient in the first moments, but like you said, the first goes in, and then we get quickly the second and the third goal.
Yeah, talk us through the opening goal, Julie. Lovely build-up play, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's great build-up play, and they've got a bit of rotation as well within their squad. So it's actually Martha Thomas here. You can see she's pulled out into that wide position, but instantly you've got people who are filling that, and you've got Claire Emsley, who we talked about her work rate getting up and down. Martha Thomas, we thought she was going to be the one getting on the end of crosses, but it's a wonderful cross with her left foot. She just finds that gap between the defender and the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper can't come. It's an in-swinging cross, and Claire Emsley does really well just to guide it into the net, and a brilliant start. And I think when you're putting a wing-back, Claire Emsley as your wing-back, you know what you're going to get, and that would have been her instruction. Make sure you can get into the box. When the ball's on the other side, make sure you're rushing in at the back post, and that's what she's done.
Yeah, she finished it off really well. There was a bit of a sign of danger, though. Israel did manage to break forward, and Lee Gibson had to look lively. Yeah,
it was a fantastic touch here. Unsighted after Sophie's jump, but what a fantastic save from Lee Gibson, especially because the shot came central, so she needs to stay big, she needs to stay up, and she's made an absolutely crucial save at a key moment in the game.
And then Sophie Howard with that block as well, maybe making amends for her earlier mistake.
Yeah, and I think that's a real turning point in the game. At that point, it's 1-0 to Scotland, and if they equalise, who knows what can happen. And it was a bit of a warning. We were playing lots of nice football, we were committing numbers forward, but it was a warning that we also have to make sure we don't leave ourselves vulnerable at the back. And I think Lee Gibson does exactly as what she's there to do and what we've seen her doing in numerous occasions, and she keeps her team in the game at that moment in time.
I think it's fair to say that Scotland's second goal will be filed under S for scrappy, but we'll take it. But obviously Hansen making it 2-0. Talk us through this one. Maybe from a defensive point of view, could Israel have done a little bit better here?
Yeah, like you said, Jane, I think it was extremely scrappy. In the first instance, a fantastic drive and run from Erin Cuthbert, and a very teasing ball along that kind of 6-yard box that is extremely hard to defend anyway, but very scrappy, but very instinctive from Kirsty Hansen, getting in the mix, getting on the end of it, and
I think she saves Martha Thomas's blushes, though, when you look at the opportunity. She's got a full open goal to put it in, and she hits the post, and I think she's probably relieved that our strike partner's there just to tap it in.
Nothing scrappy about the third goal. Great play again involving Hansen and Emsley.
It was very good link-up play between the three players that you just mentioned there. A great touch and turn from Martha, a reverse pass inside, and very unselfishly ball along the edge of the box for Claire Emsley, who, like Julie said, was in at the back post once again, supporting.
Yeah, great insight to see, obviously, Martha Thomas, or Emsley, sorry, coming through for that pass, because she could have had a crack herself, such the form that she's in.
She could, and I think also at that point when Martha Thomas is on the edge of the box, she looks like she's going to have a strike just there, and again, unselfishly, she's got great vision just to spot the run. Brilliant run, perfectly timed, keeps herself onside, and then she has the vision to know that Claire Emsley is coming in at the back post for a tap-in. So a much easier finish for Claire Emsley than it would have been for Kirsty Hansen.
Yeah, Scotland looking very, very comfortable indeed in this one. 3-0 up, leading at half-time. We'll bring you the second half, of course, live on BBC Scotland. Hopefully we'll bring you more goals as well. But there's plenty more to come across BBC Scotland. The second series of Icons of Football is out, and Jen Beattie is this week's subject.
I fell in love with football. Football, for me, from such a young age, was what I wanted to play.
I want a game of football. I'm bored.
Football started to take over Jen's life, and she soon rose head and shoulders above her teammates at Glasgow City FC.
So I went from being the first girl to have ever played for Glasgow City to then captaining it the following year. And it was another one of those moments that it was just about earning respect from the boys and kind of trying to prove yourself. I was also much bigger than at that point, so maybe they were nice to me for a reason.
Your daughter suddenly becomes the captain of the boys' team, and you think, how did this happen?
Well, a landmark film released in 2002, which proved that football wasn't just a game for the boys, played a big part.
I'd asked my mum if I could go see Bend It Like Beckham as like my birthday party. And I just fell in love with the idea that you could go and play soccer in America for a college degree. When you saw them get onto the plane, I was like, that's amazing. That was a turning point for me, that I was in love with it. I was obsessed.
Jen's passion was starting to become a reality. She'd already featured for Scotland under-16s and set out to pursue a career in football.
Queen's Park for me was, I guess, the introduction to senior women's football in Scotland, and I went from playing with kids and boys to adults, women. People had to train as professionals whilst holding down full-time jobs. That made me appreciate what they were doing and how much we all loved it.
But at age 16, she had an opportunity to play as an amateur for the newly formed senior side Celtic FC Women.
I was a small fish in a big pond of a senior women's team, and I wanted to try and make it and do it.
After one season at Celtic, whilst also picking up awards at high school, a phone call in January 2009 from London would change Jen's life.
The assistant manager at Arsenal, Tony Gervais, phoned and says, "We want to bring you down in summer." I'm getting goosebumps now talking about it. They were the team that was semi-pro. They were going to put me through uni. That was the sort of big break moment for me. I couldn't get down there quick enough. I couldn't wait to get going to play with some of the biggest players in Europe at that time.
Oh, that's going to be a good one. You can catch that one on the BBC iPlayer. Also coming up, you can see there on Monday, Sports Scene brings you highlights of the men's team in action. Gibraltar against Scotland. Tune in on BBC One. Scotland will also bring you the return leg of this Euro qualifier. That's on BBC Scotland on Tuesday at 2:45. And the men's final friendly before the Euros that sees Scotland taking on Finland. We'll bring you the match live on BBC One Scotland from 7:30.
Welcome to Germany. This is the Euros, where anything can happen.
Finds him again, John McGinn!
Intercepted by Modric. Some lovely stuff from Spain there.
Vela could be in trouble here. Big little it bounces to Bellingham. Bellingham all the way! And it's saved by Donnarumma. It's magnificent. Kylian Mbappé. Extraordinary finale.
More twists, more turns. UEFA Euro 2024 starts Friday 14th of June across the BBC.
Can't believe the Euros is here. 2 weeks to this very night. Scotland against Germany. Cannot wait. But it's Scotland against Israel we're talking about this evening. And comfortable, cruise control. What will Pedro be saying at half-time? Just more of the same?
I think he'll be extremely pleased with their performance. I think not just getting 3 goals in that first half, but also the manner in which we've got those 3 goals, the way that the players have played. So yes, I think it'll be exactly that. More of the same. Continue to move the ball. Continue to make sure that the movement's good off the ball so that the player on it has plenty of attacking options, because we don't want to take our foot off the pedal. Let's continue to press the goal. Let's continue to create opportunities, and let's see how many we can score in this second half.
Yeah, they don't want to take their foot off the pedal, but at the same time, they might want to give some fringe players a chance to show what they can do as well, which could be key for a campaign like this.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's important in games where your goal's up. But I think what's also key is not to disrupt the flow and the momentum of the game, which naturally happens when you make a few subs. So like Julie said, stay focused, don't get complacent, and don't deviate from the game plan.
Yeah, does he try and tinker with the shape again? Obviously, it's working very well, but does he see if another shape might do a better job, or does he just stick exactly with what he's doing?
No,
Yeah.
I think we've seen before that goal difference is extremely important. We've already had a 0-0 draw with Serbia. It might come down to it. No, this game plan, the structure of the team, the way that they've set out is working. Unless things change in the Israel team that's going to cause us any problems, then I think we need to continue. I wouldn't be in a rush to put on any subs for the sake of giving people game time. Yeah. I think when it comes to qualifying games, then it's really important that you get the right result, that you get the goals that you need. It's not about bringing players on. That's what your friendly games are for. I think what he'll do is he'll make changes if he thinks they're going to benefit the team, and they're right at that moment in time. So I think we'll expect to see the same players coming onto the pitch. I think we'll expect to see the same structure to the team, the same lineup. And for me, I think he'll only change it if players are either tiring, injured, or if he needs someone fresh to come on and play their part.
You'd probably be disappointed, Joelle, if there's not more goals in the second half, such as the way that Scotland have been playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking about our confidence. If we flip that to Israel, they won't have that much confidence. So, yeah, I think if we play the way that we've played in the first half and kind of fine-tune those little margins, then certainly we'll be looking for more goals in the second half.
Yeah, well, we're going to bring you that second half. The players are making their way out onto the pitch, we understand. So the second half is coming up for you. Scotland well in control in this one. Claire Emsley making it 3-0. That was her second of the night. And as I say, Scotland in cruise control, looking very, very good in the Hampden sunshine against Israel. Let's see how the second half pans out, shall we? Let's cross back to our commentary team of Gemma Fay and Alistair Lammett.
Thanks again, Jane. Yeah, Marian Awad is one of 2 changes for Israel in this second period. Also coming on, Rachel Steinschneider. There she is, preparing to come on. And the players who are making way. Eden Avital is one of them. Scotland they have made no changes. They're preparing to get us back underway. Aikisi is the other Israeli player who has been replaced at half-time. But certainly no reason, as Joel was just saying there, for Pedro Martinez Losa to change things up just at this stage. But you would imagine as the game progresses that he will make a few changes as Scotland look to add to their tally, which is already at 3. And they look to increase that as this second half goes on. So Israel to get us back underway as they look to make some sort of impression on the game. They have shown in flashes that they can pose problems, but thankfully for Scotland, in the one particular occasion in which they threatened, Lee Gibson was up to the task. And Jim, I guess it is just a case, very simply, and it's nice to be able to say this about a Scotland team, just more of the same in this second period.
Absolutely. I think if they can start this second half the way in which they finished the first, with that level of intensity, intense domination and possession that they had, I think we'll be in for a right good second half here.
I would imagine that Pedro Martinez Losa does just want to keep up the intensity in terms of applying pressure, adding to the amount of goals they've scored. The top 3 in this group of 4 advance to the first round of playoffs, so it's quite difficult not to qualify actually for that first round of playoffs, but Scotland will want to be top of the group without a doubt. Serbia currently there on 7 points and look to be the stiffest opposition in the group after battling out that 0-0 draw when the two sides met at the start of qualifying. They'll meet again in July. On the chase here, pretty much on their own. Support arriving now. She just slips it in opportune moment, and the chance is gone.
Just great awareness there by Erin Cuthbert. Picked the ball up, run. Martha Thomas launched the ball down to her, and I just think maybe she could have taken that touch inside, which would have prevented that defender from getting back across. But once again, a good start to this half for Scotland.
With the challenge there on Kuznetsov, and Emsley backs it up towards Hansen. She's lost out though. First involvement there for Steinschneider, and she's managed to force the corner.
Yeah, she worked it well there. Of course, she's standing up at the back, but conceding the corner. So focus and attention here for Scotland.
They won't want their copybook to be blotted at all by the loss of a goal. Lee Gibson certainly won't want that. No goals conceded in qualifying thus far.
I must admit that is the most pathetic attempt at trying to win a penalty I have seen in a long time. Oh, that was outrageous.
It's a pretty outrageous effort as well, and it's over the top in the end from Vital Katz.
No, we're not going to replay that. I can't remember what, I think it was the captain, Kuznetsov, who literally just fell back with pleading eyes towards the referee.
Of course, he's given that straight to Sommer, who passed up the best opportunity for the Israelis so far, looking to create here. That's a good pick out for Steinschneider, and brilliant goalkeeping by Lee Gibson. And again, it had to be, as Steinschneider was poised to get Israel off the mark.
Yes, slack pass there by Rachel Corsie, which causes a bit of panic in the defence, and Scotland defensively all caught ball watching. And once again, Lee Gibson does what Lee Gibson does and stands up big. Huge save there to stop Israel gaining any momentum from getting a goal back in this game.
Already though, Rachel Steinschneider showing what she can do since coming on. Here's Emsley, who's on a hat-trick. Cuts that one back. Sommer. Should get it back once more. It's the other substitute now, Awad. Sommer again, and of course he just pokes it behind. Better stuff from Israel at the start of the second period.
Yeah, absolutely. They've obviously had a talking to in the changing room, been told to stand up a little bit more, be counted in this game, put Scotland under a little bit of pressure, see how they react. And they've had opportunities. Important that Scotland focus here, regain their hold on the game. First of all, defend this corner effectively.
Sommer to send it in, left-footed, near post ball, backed away by Thomas. Israel corner here, this one taken short. Sommer still available. Here she is. Rather easily away from Emsley. Just nudges it back to her captain, and then Martha Thomas out there to charge the second ball down. Hasn't been nearly as fluent from Scotland in the opening minutes of this second period.
No, but you can't expect a team not to come out and not to try and raise their game and force themselves back into it, and your job is how do you adapt to that. I don't think for 1 second Scotland would have expected Israel to come out the way they finished that first half, so how do you absorb that pressure in the initial minutes and maintain your authority or regain your authority on the match?
Certainly the Israeli organisation looks to be better at the start of this second half. Just maybe a couple of tactical tweaks, although it wasn't the best. Nor is that from Kirsty Hansen, but she does well to retain possession. Try to play in Thomas. There's Cuthbert. Invites Evans forward. Be relatively pleased with the way they've started the second half, you would imagine. There is Belfort.
They've certainly shown a better account of themselves in the opening 9 minutes of this half than they did in the last. So an improvement from what we saw in the first half from the Israelis.
Cuthbert back to Sophie Howard. That once more. And she tries to clip that one forward. Cornet's on the move. Seemed to catch her opponent there inadvertently, and the referee happy to allow it to continue. It will be a Scotland corner. It certainly was accidental from Chelsea Cornet, but you often see that given as a free kick nonetheless.
Yeah, you do, but I don't absolutely think there's nothing that Chelsea Cornet can do there. The referee's not exactly been consistent in her decision making so far tonight, so I'm not surprised that it's not given.
Scotland's quite happy with that as Erin Cuthbert goes out to take the corner kick on the right-hand side for the Scots as they look to get on the score sheet for the first time in the second period. Down to their first half 3 goals. Of course, it was a target, didn't quite get there. Evans finds Cuthbert again. Lovely ball for Emsley, couldn't quite take it, but she still managed to gather it. The second attempt. And the Ricochet takes it behind for a goal kick. I was checking to see if Claire Emsley had scored a hat-trick previously for Scotland. In actual fact, it turns out she's never scored 2 in a game before, so that's a first for her tonight.
Is she not?
Apparently
I
not
would
for
have
Scotland.
thought she had. Maybe it's just me thinking back to training where she used to score 4 or 5 in a minute against me in shooting trap practice.
Evans losing out, but in steps Erin Cuthbert to help her. And as an Israeli player down, it will be a throw into Scotland eventually, but looks like it's Nakav, is it? That's
Cannot tell if that's a 6 or an 8.
it's a 6, isn't it? Which is the captain, Shahar Nakav.
Looked more like a foul on Kirsty Hansen than anything else.
And she has put herself about, Nakav, made a couple of important blocks. Scotland looking to carve out a 4th goal. It's Cuthbert. Angled ball in, Howard just won't quite catch that. Not a bad idea.
That was nearly pinpoint, wasn't it? Erin just showing her array and range of passing that she has. Different point of attack into the box there. Different options being displayed. It does feel a little bit flatter than it did in the first half. Doesn't seem like it's quite clicking the way it did. Maybe we'll just give them an easing in period like we did in the first half, but if we think about whether or not we would see changes, if it continues like this, Pedro might decide that he wants to freshen things up a little bit. But just like in the first half, it might just take a little bit of time for Scotland to settle into this second period.
Of course, you're looking for options. Kirsty Hansen was one. And she's committed to foul. Israel free kick.
Unsure whether that's a free kick again. Some interesting decisions, let's just say.
Sommer there just ahead of Thomas. be through to Lee Gibson. His clean sheet remains intact thanks to a couple of excellent saves from her, one in either half. Sophie Howard out to Evans. Cuthbert ahead of her. And Cuthbert eventually getting the free kick. I think she was looking for one just prior to that.
Yeah, maybe just deciding what spot she wants it in. Probably a nicer spot for delivery here. She's just toying. She's just toying with the defender there.
Scotland planning changes shortly, but not before this free kick. Evans leaves it for Cuthbert, flights it in. Again, Scotland not making the most of set pieces, as Gemma has already bemoaned. But might have a chance in this second phase. Cuthbert still has it.
Bemoan's a bit negative, highlighted, perhaps. Highlighted.
Better use of the English language there. 3 changes being lined up by Pedro Martinez Losa relatively imminently. Just reflecting the slightly slower start to the second half, but Scotland coming forward again. That's a penalty. The referee took a moment before deciding Chelsea corner. It was dragged to the ground. It looked like the right call.
Yeah, it's a clear penalty here. She clips her left leg going through. Nice build-up play from Scotland there. Intricate 1-2, moving the ball. Good run in, direct run in by Chelsea Cornet, and probably the most obvious foul of the night.
Sharabi it was who brought Chelsea Cornet down. I thought Claire Emsley might be given the opportunity to score her hat-trick, but instead it's going to be Martha Thomas with a chance to get her name on the score sheet. Hitting the post in the lead up to Kirsty Hansen's goal, and provider for Claire Emsley's first. Can she notch herself here? Yes, she can. Confidently taken low to the goalkeeper's right. There was never any doubt about that as Martha Thomas stepped up to score her 15th Scottish goal.
Yeah, really precise, deliberate penalty. Knew exactly where she was going. Short run up, wraps her foot round the ball, low into the goalkeeper's bottom right-hand corner. Goalkeeper guesses the right way, but just can't get there because of the power and precision on that penalty. And you have to say it's a deserved goal from Martha Thomas, who's worked really hard all night and really contributed to the attacking effort from Scotland.
Kirsty Smith, Kirsty McLean and Jane Ross, you saw in your picture there a moment ago, preparing to come on. These changes already planned in advance of the goal going in. So looking to themselves on the score sheet. That's a good take from Gibson.
Yeah, once again, moves her feet, gets her body down the line of the ball. But it's just sometimes those moments after something happens, a goal, or that Scotland just kind of switch off a little bit. You'd want somebody to get closer to that, close that ball down, knowing how dangerous Israel can be from outside the box. But Lee Gibson once again doing, sorry, Lee Gibson. I want to call her Alexandra. Why? She hasn't been Alexandra for a while, but doing what she does best, which is good shot stopper, getting her body behind the ball and calming it and settling down for Scotland.
Thomas, a little flick didn't quite come off. To cause Scotland a few problems here. It will be now the opportunity to make those changes. So Chelsea Cornet, the first Scotland player to be replaced, having just won that penalty by her Rangers teammate Kirsty McLean. There will be no hat-trick for Claire Emsley as her evening comes to an end. And Jane Ross, another Rangers player, enters the fray. And Evans is going to be the other player to be replaced at right full-back by Kirsty Smith. Good to see Kirsty McLean coming on after a spell out with injury, but another exciting young player coming through for Scotland, Gemma.
Yeah, absolutely. She, unfortunately, her season was curtailed this year because of injury, but we saw her come back and in that cup final as well. And it's great to see a young player like her coming back into the team. She would have been with her teammates out with the under-23s who were playing Denmark today. I know they're all watching on, and they'll be delighted to see her back on the pitch for the senior national team and aspiring to what they want to be one day. Also great to see Jane Ross, who's also had her injury woes and coming back on, and these are the types of games that she loves, and maybe she'll add to that tally. But an opportunity for those three players to demonstrate what they can do, and surrounded by different players in this formation.
Here is Jane Ross, who again moves to just over 50 fewer caps than Gemma Fay, with 150 this evening, which is not a bad tally by most people's standards. But
have you got the number yet?
No, I'm going to say it's something. It must be like near 300 or something like that for that world record, is it?
You know what? It's over that.
No, this is Jane Ross's 150th. She has 62 goals, but you don't have as many goals as that, do you?
Probably letting more.
She will be looking to add to that. It has been a while, actually. She did obviously have that period out injured. She started and scored the last time the sides met back in 2012.
No, she's been an incredible servant and continues to be an incredible servant to both club and country. And it's great to see her back after that long layoff, difficult recovery. But if there's one thing that Jane Ross is absolutely resilient and determined, and she's worked really hard to get back into both the Rangers team and also back into national team selection.
A great challenge, but play allowed to continue with Israel still in possession and looking to score one themselves, and that is not far away. It's a very decent effort. Aliana Beard flashing the shot just wide.
Yeah, not far away. Lee Gibson rooted the spot on that one. Israel having more opportunities in this half that we're seeing. Good opportunities of that, and it's something that Scotland will need to look at in terms of, yes, we absolutely want to dominate it, yes, we want to attack, yes, goal difference will be important, but the next progression is how do we minimise any impact from the opposition when we want to do that.
Michaela Warku and Opal Sofer coming on there for Israel. There's Kirsty Smith on it right back. McLean trying to slip it through there for Kirsty Hansen. Just over 20 minutes to play, and Scotland in a very comfortable position. As Kerr picks up. Smith. Howard making the run ahead of her, but she checks back onto the left foot, just over Jane Ross. Doesn't quite reach Martha Thomas. Looked like a free kick, and eventually is given. There's Hansen. We've got Scotland against Finland live next Friday for you. The final game before the Euros, big send-off here at Hampden for the men's side. Looking to a win under their belt before they head off for Germany. Smith, Cuthbert in a good position. Can she pick out a teammate here? Will be a corner. Cuthbert with her latest corner. And it comes to nothing. Scotland almost caught short at the back there. Nicola Docherty having to take evasive action. Forward come Israel. Still in search of a goal here this evening. Ball, it's good defending by Corsie. Still it might happen, another good bit of defending, still a chance, and Gibson that time. It's a phenomenal block made in there.
Yeah, great play down the left-hand side. Good for Corsie to get there ahead. First block by Hansen, body on the line, and then Lee Gibson once again. She's made 3 point-blank saves in this match, which could have meant this game could have been actually 4-3, which is incredible to say that. But these are the moments that you earn your stripes as a goalkeeper, and she's been phenomenal when faced up with those 1-on-1v situations tonight. Huge for Scotland. Unfortunately, hopefully, neither of them are too injured from that. Because he was on, Lee Gibson seems to be back on her feet. But it's a huge block here from Kirsty Hansen. Her arm tucked right into her body there, but the follow-up block from Lee Gibson as well. Fantastic defence. Slightly concerning they got themselves into that position in the first place. Not taken away from that, but when you are in that position, for Kirsty Hansen to be in that position, working back to be able to make that block and then for Lee to stand up to that. That's all you can ask players to do when the ball eventually gets to those positions.
Coral Hazan is going to be, by my reckoning, the final Israeli change of the evening. She'll replace Vital Katz. Not the return to Glasgow that she was hoping for. Change for Scotland as Sophie Howard departs and Jana Clark of Liverpool comes on alongside Rachel Corsie at the back. Have you been keeping an eye on how she's fared in her first season down in the WSL, Gemma?
Yeah, she seems to have settled in well. She's been a big miss to Glasgow City up here, and certainly still a young player and one that at position at centre-back where Scotland don't have a significant amount of depth, so good opportunity for her to continue to develop as a player.
Taking a chance and almost getting caught with it. There's Jane Ross, who hasn't had too much of the ball since coming on.
No, I guess we were hoping for an injection into that front line with the changes that have been made. Not quite seen them yet. We are getting on into the game. Tiredness setting in a little bit. But it's certainly not been at the same level of intensity in the second half that we saw from Scotland in the first. Partly that's because Israel have tightened up, have started to play a little bit more. And started to have opportunities. And when that happens, you subconsciously think about the fact that that could happen again. But I still think I think there's an opportunity here for Scotland in the last few minutes to finish it off really, really strong. Don't get me wrong, 4-0 Scotland at this moment in time. If it ends like this, we'll be comfortable and happy with that result. But just in terms of an opportunity in an international match to really sharpen yourself up, to really put a statement out there in terms of the expectations you set for yourself and the expectations that others should have of you, and others, by others I mean opponents.
Offside flag is up. It's going to stop Israel's progress just now. I mean, Israel probably feel, as much as Scotland have dominated the game, will probably feel that they at least deserve a goal.
Well, the chances they've had and the chances that they've created, well, they've created some, Scotland have given them others, would warrant them getting a goal, but this is international level, and just because you have chances doesn't mean you're not going to come up against a goalkeeper who is of the standard that is going to allow you to take those chances. So they may think that they deserve a goal, they may think they've had enough chances, but the harsh reality is you don't take your chances, you don't get your goals. And Scotland are well aware of that.
Yeah.
And have had to work through that the last couple of games. And they've certainly earned the right, I think, from their attacking play to be 4-0 up. We could say that they have perhaps ridden their luck a little bit to maintain a clean sheet. But I'll go back to the point in time, Lee Gibson's job is to prevent goals and make saves, and she's done that superbly well when called upon tonight.
Nicola Docherty penalised there. Sommer over this one. Might have been very different had she converted when as they were just one goal down. But Gibson popping up with one of those big saves that Gemma's talking about. Beard to take the free kick instead. Wins the header. For anyone tuning in for Rebus, it will follow the end of this game, which was delayed. You can see there's about 10 minutes remaining in this, so not too much longer for you to wait. But stick with us. Scotland looking to add more goals to their 4 that they've scored so far. Hasn't been too much in the second half for Fortuna Rubin to deal with, Gemma, which might be a slight... I mean, 4-0, you can't complain too much, but Pedro Martinez-Losa, I guess, would have been looking to add more goals.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, the goals come from you having dominance in the attacking area and imposing yourself in the game. So I think that would be, it's very hard to talk about being disappointed, being 4-0 up in a game. But if we use a comparative, which is the first half performance, it's not been at the level of that first half performance, but you're 4-0 up in a game. It's hard to continue sometimes knowing that you've probably got the game in the bag. But there's still been elements like in this game you still see, and you see this in every game, you see Erin trying to drive, you see her here pointing, this is where we want the ball, this is how we want to play, come and get involved. So you can see in their body language and just in terms of their communication, there's a desire to make it work, to make it better. Just because it's not happening the way it did in the first half doesn't mean that there's not an effort and intent there. But I think the thing in the second half, which I think needs to be looked at a little bit closer, is the opportunities that Israel have had, both from pure Scotland play, but also the ways in which they've created. And that's something which Scotland need to focus on a little bit out the back of this game. How do we prevent other teams from having those opportunities? Because yes, we want to be dominant in attack, but we also want to be dominant in defence and not give people opportunities.
This could be an opportunity here for Israel. Good backtracking by Jenna Clark, though.
Yeah, good backtracking, covering well, but once again, probably shouldn't afford Israel the opportunity to get in behind like that.
Late introduction for Amy Rogers, who's going to replace Erin Cuthbert and make her 5th Scotland appearance. I think probably like most in a Scotland jersey, Erin Cuthbert's first half was more impressive than her second, but just under 10 minutes for Amy Rogers to make an impression. It'll be interesting to see how Tuesday's game against the same opponents goes out in Hungary. And Sommer, is there a consolation for Israel? Yes, indeed there is, and it's a fabulous finish from Talia Sommer, who passed up a first half opportunity at 1-0 down. Well, she gets on the score sheet to make it 4-1.
Yeah, it's a fantastic finish. She cuts inside here and Nicola Doherty, and it's a great finish into the top right-hand corner. There's a little bit of indecision just before she picks up that ball between Rachel Corsie and Nicola Docherty. You see Rachel looking across at Nicola, perhaps an expectation that she's going to come and take that ball. That tiny moment of indecision cost Scotland. And it's not like they haven't been warned, and it's not like we haven't talked about it. And those are the moments, in terms of disappointments, those are the moments of disappointments. Take nothing away from the finish. The finish was excellent, but that opportunity should not have been presented to Israel in that position. And that's something that Scotland, in terms of, one, the aim to win this group, two, to get through those playoff matches, they must be able to take moments like that out of their game.
Yeah, and that'll certainly give the Israelis encouragement going into Tuesday's encounter in Hungary, which we'll have live for you as well. But they will probably feel that as just rewards for their efforts over the course of the 85 minutes, and certainly in the second half, in which they've probably matched the Scots to a large degree, and certainly matched them in terms of goals in this second period. Scotland looking to change that once more, though. Thomas is still full of running, and she's forced a corner there. She's never stopped all evening, has she?
Absolutely not. She's been, in terms of coming back into the team, she's led the line well. She's been involved, scoring the penalty, and involved in the other goals in terms of her crossing or reverse pass, etc., and just in terms of her general harrying around and forcing errors out the Israeli defenders, getting corners, and really being a nuisance and a presence up there. She's been excellent.
Jane Ross. Nita Hansen found Thomas with a good ball, and Thomas with the attempt. Oh, it's got to be, with the offside flag goes up to spare Kirsty Smith's blushes.
Yeah, one of the best bits of play there. Nice slip ball into Martha Thomas. It's an okay save in terms of initial save. Martha Thomas could have done a bit more with that. Spills the ball out though, and Kirsty Smith is saved by the offside flag. But a nice little bit of play there from Scotland, and we haven't seen much of that in the second half, if we're completely honest.
Martha Thomas also offside. I'm not even sure Kirsty Smith realised the offside flag went up. She was...
I absolutely think she thought, I'm offside, I might as well just balloon this over the bar.
Docherty picking up from Clark. Pass is cut out though. Awad trying to slip that through, and the offside flag is up. And the post also denying Hazan.
Yeah, let off there. Yep, just straight offside there. Wouldn't have counted anyway because it was hit the post, but once again, bit of slack play by Nicola Doherty on this left-hand side presents an opportunity to the opposition.
And Scotland will draw level with Serbia at the top of the table on points, both on 7 going into Tuesday's round of games. How would you anticipate Tuesday's game out in Hungary against Israel again going? Would you expect it to be similar?
I would expect Israel to start stronger. I expect Israel to start more like they've done in this second half than they did in the first half. I do expect us to win. I do expect us to be able to beat Israel over there, but I don't think it will be as emphatic a scoreline as we have here. It may be 1-2-0, but we will also have to be really, really careful in terms of allowing Israel opportunity to attack. We need to be far more ruthless in denying them and snuffing out any opportunity than we have been in this second half.
So putting that into the 6-yard area, but comfortable take there for Gibson. Rogers can't get there. Israel will be a lot more pleased about their second half performance, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Giving a much better account of themselves.
And to be honest, it's much closer to the games that I've seen them play. This performance in the second half, much more characteristic of the dangers that they do pose in attack. But I guess from a Scotland perspective, it's better to understand that and know that and have faced it and know what you're going to face next week in terms of those threats, so that you've got some time over the next few days to work on how you nullify them better than we have in the second half.
Here's Hansen driving the Israeli back line. Just lost their footing there as much as anything else. It'll be a goal kick and nothing more. To the final minute of the 4 added on, and Scotland are going to emerge comfortable winners, but Israel have certainly made life more difficult for them in the second period. There's Thomas winning Scotland another corner, perhaps a final one. Rogers taking over corner kick duties from Erin Cuthbert. Ross, oh, she just took it off the boot of Martha Thomas. Needed better communication, I guess, in there. And the chance is gone. And there's a full-time whistle. Scotland maintain their unbeaten start to the group with an emphatic 4-1 win. Pedro Martinez Losa's side drawing level with Serbia at the top of the group with tonight's victory, which was never really in doubt from the moment Claire Emsley put Scotland in front. Talia Sommer scored a consolation late in the second half for Israel, but by that time Scotland were 4 goals to the good. Hansen got one in between Emsley's first half double, and in the second period Martha Thomas, who had been denied by the post in the first half, scored from the spot after a foul on Chelsea Cornet. Scotland not as impressive in the second half as they were in the first period, but nonetheless the job was pretty much done in that opening period, and so they will go into Tuesday's meeting of the two sides again, this time out in Hungary, in Gudfettel, looking to move on to 10 points and ensure qualification for the playoffs. A good evening then for Scotland at the National Stadium, where the full-time score is Scotland 4, Israel 1.
Yeah, good scoreline for Scotland there, winning by 4 goals to 1. There's confirmation of the table as well. Just goes to show you, we talked about it, the importance of goal difference. Scotland top on goal difference, Serbia in second place, both of course on 7 points though. Serbia winning by 2 goals to 1 earlier against Slovakia this evening. Both are in action on Tuesday, of course, Israel, Scotland and Slovakia against Serbia. Julie, what was your take on that second half? A bit of a quieter affair, which maybe you would be expecting?
Yeah, I mean, not as entertaining as the first half. I think we struggled to get back into our stride again. Didn't quite create as many opportunities as we had done in the first half, but we were comfortable going into the second half. I think we did gift quite a few opportunities to Israel, which will be disappointing because on another day they could have scored more than one. So that's definitely something I think that we can work on before we go into the away game against Israel. But it was a convincing win. I think we showed that we've got a bit of creativity and a bit of flair in front of goal. We can commit bodies forward and we can get numbers into the box. And when we do that, then it does pay off. Yeah,
Julie, Joelle, sorry, plenty more positives than negatives tonight, fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like Julie said, the second half performance didn't mirror that of the first, but when you're so dominant in the first, when you're so clinical and ruthless, you can almost afford that dip in performance levels. But certainly the girls will be pleased to get the win, disappointed to concede, but ultimately, like Julie said at the top of the programme, first and foremost, the goal was for the 3 points.
What impressed you most about tonight's performance, Julie? I mean, we talked about the change of shape and how that was really, really fruitful today.
I think the fact that we've got the same group of players and they've got that kind of versatility where they can slot into different systems. We can play a back three, we can play a back four. I think for me, first half, I think some of the football that we played was excellent. I think we moved the ball really well. There was a lot of passing going into the third goal. The lead up to the third goal was great play. We were really patient in the build-up. There was movement of the players in front. And then the kind of passing between Martha Thomas, Kirsty Hansen, and then finished off by Claire Emsley. It's a brilliant goal. So for me, I think some of the football we played was really, really impressive, and it shows you what we're capable of.
Yeah, and really impressive. Julie mentions those players and how well they were linking up. The fact that they've just come back into the squad as well, and they've got that relationship back so soon. That's really positive, isn't it?
It is really positive, especially given, like we spoke about, Kirsty Hansen coming back into the squad on the back of an injury, and I think that makes it even more impressive that we have that cohesion there, we have that link up, and ultimately within that goal you could see that those 3 players especially knew where their teammate was going to be without having to get their head up and look.
Scotland did add to the scoreline in the second half, just the 1 goal from a Scotland point of view coming from the penalty spot. Julie, let's have a look at it. What do you think?
I think Chelsea Cornet does really well. She takes a touch across her player and then she knows that if she's going to make the tackle, then she's going to bring her down. So that positive touch into the box, I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that it's a penalty kick. There was question marks. We were wondering who was going to hit it. Martha Thomas steps up, really short run up, but you can see there it's right into the corner. It's a great penalty kick, and she thoroughly deserved a goal tonight. Her input for the other goals just showing that she's not only a goal scorer, but she's really good outside the box. She links up play. She's a great teammate. And she definitely deserved to be on the score sheet.
Yeah, she definitely did deserve a goal because, as Julie pointed out, her all-round play this evening was very, very impressive. She was integral to a lot of good things that Scotland were doing out there.
She was, yeah, and we spoke about Martha being in the box on the end of crosses, playing within the width of the 18, but certainly she showed another side of her game tonight. She was running channels, she was coming back inside onto her left foot, playing with her right. So, yeah, I think tonight Martha Thomas can be very pleased with her overall performance.
Someone else who could be fairly pleased, Lee Gibson, although she did concede one goal, probably not a great deal she could have done about it because it was a bit of a wonder strike, but she was very, very good this evening.
I thought she was outstanding. I think that whenever she was called upon, she was there. That first save with her feet, that was a great opportunity. And then again here, she's really quick. She's off her line. The minute she sees the player taking the touch, she's off her line to close the angle. And there were numerous opportunities for Israel, and Scotland had a really safe pair of hands. And Lee Gibson, again there, really fast off her line. That's the minute the head goes down of the player, you can see their head goes down, she goes to strike the ball, and Lee's off her line so quickly. It's really difficult for a striker to try and find any angle of putting the ball past a goalkeeper when they're narrowing it in the way in which Lee did. So for me, I thought she was exceptional. I think it'll probably go unnoticed because it's been a 4-1 win and we're looking at the attacking players, but don't forget just how important at 1-0 up, she made that brilliant save, and then quite a few in the second half as well.
And impressive because, I mean, she would have been disappointed to have been dropped as a #1 goalkeeper earlier in this campaign, and she's come out, maybe given Pedro something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt in Lee's quality. She's a quality player and a quality person, and she would have been disappointed in those games that she wasn't starting, but certainly her professionalism, the way she approaches every game wouldn't have changed, and I think you showed, you've seen tonight just what Lee brings to the team.
Yeah, we should say we'll hopefully bring you some reaction from the Scotland players, but we understand they're still in the dressing room. Hopefully they'll come out soon enough so we can get some reaction for you. Let's have a look at the Israel goal. It was a cracker, wasn't it?
It was a brilliant finish in the end, but I think here it's a kind of catalogue of errors. I think when the ball goes into, I think it's Sommer, she cuts inside. No one's close enough. We've got enough players. We've got Nicola Docherty, Rachel Corsie, and then you can see in the pitch, I think it's Kirsty McLean who arrives, but no one actually puts enough pressure on the ball. I mean, when she cuts back inside, she just manages to, it's a perfect height just to get it over Lee Gibson, a great left-footed. You can see the curl she's got on the shot as well. But for me, from a Scotland point of view, there's that feeling of she should never have been able to have this time and space to take that touch inside onto her left foot and get the shot off.
I'm assuming that's something you want to see them working on for the next game, kind of sorting out that kind of scrappiness, if you like, in defence.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you absolutely can't afford that indecisive nature. And like Julie said, there was just too many players not taking ownership, not taking responsibility, not getting close enough to apply that pressure. So as a defender, as a whole collective team, they will be disappointed with that goal.
Yeah, but the thing is that they learn from that, Julie. They'll look at the analysis. They'll know how to make improvements for the next time out.
Yeah, I think it won't only be that goal that they look at. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 opportunities that Israel could have done better, and maybe on another day Lee Gibson doesn't make those saves. So I think there'll be quite a few of those opportunities that they'll need to look at, because it could be quite different when we go away from home.
Let's bring you some reaction then to that 4-1 win for Scotland. Let's hear from the Scotland captain, Rachel Corsie, and one of the goal scorers this evening, Claire Emsley. They're both talking with Amy Canavan.
Rachel, back-to-back home wins at Hampden. What's the most pleasing part of that performance tonight?
I think the result. We wanted to make sure we got 3 points, and we did that. And now we have to be focused on Tuesday.
How have the pre-match events affected the squad today, the preparations, the game, everything that's came along with it?
I think the focus has been good. We spoke about a lot of different things that we thought we might need to anticipate, and I thought we were really focused at the start of the game. I thought we were excellent. We didn't let it disrupt us, and I thought we started the game really well on the front foot, and getting the early goals I think helped us just settle in.
What does it say about the character of the side, Claire, to be able to start in such a style, the 3 first half goals, and that's some of the best play that Scotland have had in a first half in quite a while, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, we wanted to really work on our attacking and our finishing, and I think that's been the focus all week, is scoring goals. So we've had a good week of prep, and yeah, it's nice to see that the ball go in the net in the game, so that's what we needed.
You see it twice go in the net for yourself. I think that's the first double you've scored for Scotland. How does that rank?
Yeah, obviously any time scoring for Scotland's amazing, and the most important thing was just getting the 3 points for the team, and we do know, considering the group, every goal counts, so yeah, means a lot.
That is now Scotland top of the group now, Rachel. What sort of boost does that give the mentality?
I think it's just about carrying on. We want to be at the top. The first couple of games were tough, but I think there was good things. We built on that. We know we need to get another result on Tuesday, and we want to keep going. I think that's the plan. Stay focused, keep driving ourselves forward. We want to get back in League A. We want to put ourselves in the best position to qualify for the Euros. And we need to just stay calm and measured, and I think that's been the focus this week.
And finally, Claire, a brace tonight, but could it and should it have been a hat-trick? Were you not going to go for that penalty, no?
No, we have our penalty takers. I was second on the list, but it's Martha's birthday, so yeah, I'm not going to take that off her. It's all about the team.
That was through gritty teeth, wasn't it? Congratulations, girls, thank you.
I never scored a hat-trick either, eh? Maybe another time.
Another time, thank you both.
Not a bad birthday present to have right enough.
She'll have other birthdays. How many opportunities do you get to score 3 for your country?
I knew you'd be on the striker side. Honestly, what's it like? I mean, interested to hear from the two of the ladies there. They were kind of keeping a lid on things. Actually, they weren't getting too carried away, but you can see that they're taking the positives.
Yeah, I was just going to say that myself. I think Rachel especially never gets too high, doesn't get too low. She always remains balanced, and I think that kind of vibe kind of oozes out amongst the girls, and you saw it in Claire as well there. So yeah, I think that approach is a very good approach to take.
Yeah, what will the manager have taken from this, Julie?
I think the first half performance, first of all, was exceptional. I think it was a team who were playing with a lot of confidence. We had spoke before that we haven't been scoring enough goals, and we were treated to 3 great goals. Yes, they end up, they were probably quite easy finishes in the end, but it's more the play before that. You could tell he was really pleased with the way the players had played in that first half, and I think we managed to get the best. The formation that he played managed to get the best out of the players that we had on the pitch. I think it really suited us. And in that particular game, the way Israel had set up, it was the perfect kind of half for us.
Just briefly, they'll want to take that out to Hungary, where they play Israel next.
Yeah, definitely. Again, going back to that word momentum, consistency, continuity, and certainly I think they will look to take that momentum, positivity out there on Tuesday.
Confident they can do it briefly, Julie?
Yes, I think I'm confident that they'll go out there and get the right result. I don't know if we'll get as good a performance as we got in the first half.
Yeah, certainly Scotland were in good form. My thanks to Julie Fleeting and to Joel Murray as well for their company here this evening. A great win for Scotland in their latest Euro qualifier. They beat Israel by 4-1 at the National Stadium. They play each other again on Tuesday night. Fingers crossed we get the same result. Bye-bye.